Welcome to a very extra special Table Read Tuesday where we have a contest winner who submitted their log line and a image of a script page and got the most likes. And that is Marvin Lickness for One in a Trillion. So
Yay.
we're reading his script today. Woo! Everybody.
Yeah, Marvin.
Drum roll before, but I guess I was just too excited and just jumped right to it. We're excited to read this unproduced script. If anybody else hears it and wants to make it, they can reach out to him. Congratulations. That's awesome. And so now anybody that sees this thing, they don't have to read the script, isolate their attention on it. They can play this while they're driving. They can play this while they're at the gym. They can do something else while they listen to the script, so more people can have access to it. And now we'll see the difference between, I guess, produced ones we've been reading and unproduced. Maybe there's no difference, but we'll see. And anyone else have anything else to say before we get started? No? All right, then we'll introduce everybody that we have today, and then we'll get started. In my left corner on my page is Clint.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good to be back. Congratulations to Marvin. This looks like it's going to be a treat for all of us. So thank you for your submission, man. And yeah, apparently the project that I just DP'd for is now a finalist at the Migrant Film Festival. So we're super excited about that. We got the news today, which is awesome. And this has just been an amazing experience again. So thank you. And I'll pass it to that way.
Don.
Oh, that's me. Hi, everybody. Here again. Love doing this. Congrats, Marvin. It's an accomplishment to just write a screenplay. So that's great. I'm glad we can read it for you today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Vicki.
Hi, I'm Vicki Dykes. And yes, I'm really excited about this script. I didn't get all the way through it, but what I did read, it looks really good. I really hope this is made into a movie.
Awesome. Angelina.
Hello, I'm Angelina. I'm going to be reading Becky and Prime Minister. And congratulations, Marvin.
Woo!
We're proud of you.
Heather Cameron.
Hi, my name is Heather Lee Cameron, and I'm grateful to Marvin for his contribution. I'm excited to read this, and if it's ever made into a movie, I'd love to be in it. I will be playing Newscaster, PA, Computer, and Sarah,
That's another
the beautiful Divergent.
That's another good point. Anybody else that wants to make this film and loves these actors' performances, hire them for it. So that's awesome. And next we have Petra.
Hi, I'm Petra. I'm excited to be performing this today. It's looks like a really cool script, and I'm just excited to be here. So I'll be playing Jennifer, so I'll be playing Sarah's mom, and looking forward to reading through the script. And if this ever gets made, I would love to, at the very least, go see it. If I can actually be in it, that'd be even better.
Absolutely. And as the audience has seen there, Petra's doing a little bit of sign language, and we noticed in this script there are a couple of deaf characters. We unfortunately don't speak fluent sign language, so we won't be able to express that, but at least they'll have the script pages that they can follow along with as well. And next we have Toni.
Hello. Thank you for including me in on this awesome table read. I keep on getting this thing that says my internet connection is unstable. I am not at my normal location today, so if you hear me fade out, I really apologize. And I'm doing actions descriptions for the first part, but if I do fade out, awesome Don Lampasone is going to be for me. So I got the other roles at so hopefully my co-actors can pick up for us. So thanks so much, and congratulations, Marvin. This is awesome. Thank you so much for submitting.
And we heard right there was a little mechanical thing with the speaking right there. Then it got clear again at the end. So we might have to jump in and do that, like you said, mentioned. But all right, this is the great cast for this great script that we're all excited to read. So, here we go. Everyone follow along with us. And so, Toni, if your internet lets you share the screen, we're ready to see how Marvin put this all together.
Can you all see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay. Ready?
We are ready.
1 in a Trillion, Canvadas, feature. Written by Marvin Likeness. marvin.likeness@gmail.com. Phone number. 1 in 1,000, Canvadas, feature presentation. Special note. Anywhere there are brackets, that is signing in the film, SimCom voice while signing, is also used as much as possible. Even though content in the brackets are in English grammar, the grammar when
Exter Jupiter space. Large letters on the screen, 1 in a trillion. Large cargo ship a large cargo ship in space. Planet Jupiter is visible in the background. Raider ships attack the ship and its escort.
Far into the future, humans have colonized every possible area of Earth's solar system. The governing party is a purist government that has been in power for 300 years. Earth and its solar system are almost out of unique resources. Fighting escalates as different factions fight for control of what is left.
Exterior, Earth, Ark, space.
A vessel named the Ark has a diameter the size of Earth's moon and is almost ready to depart for a 60-year voyage to a new solar system. It has 3 objectives. 1, create a foothold in Canvadas. 2, terraform 2 planets for future colonization. 3, mine resources and transport them back to Earth.
Exterior Eiffel Tower day. Courtyard with Eiffel Tower in background. In the sky are 2 objects. One is the moon, the other, the Ark. Komal, 20s, Jennifer, 20s, pushing a buggies with Sarah, 3, and Brenda, 3. The group stop and look at the view.
Oh, the moon and the Ark in one place.
I don't think I've ever seen them at the same time.
Jennifer taps a man, 70s, on his shoulder.
Can you take a picture of us?
Sure! Jennifer and Komal pick up the twins and set up by a railing with the Eiffel Tower. Moon and the Ark behind them. The old man raises his watch and aims it at the girls. Say sneeze! The girls chuckle as the watch flashes. He looks at his watch, then swipes it towards the girls. The girls' watch ding. Jennifer and Komal tap their watches, and a holographic photo appears above each of them.
Oh, that's a lovely shot. Thank you.
The old man smiles and goes back to where he was sitting. The girl turns toward the tower.
I can't thank you enough for bringing us on this trip.
Think nothing of it. You deserve to be here.
I wish Jack could have come. We haven't been to Earth since the girls were born.
He works too hard. Do me a favor and remember this place. We will visit it on the Ark.
They recreated Paris on the Ark?
Yes, Pluto had a great deal in building it.
Oh, my.
Exterior Paris on Ark day. The girls are standing in the same spot. The moon and Ark have been replaced with a large, faint column across the sky. It is dead quiet with no people in the square, only bird sounds and robots tending to the area.
It looks the same as yesterday, only empty.
Every time I come, it is the same, at least until night. The nightlife here is packed.
Jennifer approaches a robot.
Take our picture?
Yes, ma'am.
Jennifer and Komal lift the children and pose. Their watches ding. Jennifer looks at her holographic picture. She swipes from the new picture to the one taken a day before.
Other than the sky, they look the same. Screen went too far down.
Sorry.
I need it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm reading along on your copy. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Other than the sky, they look the same. I can't believe the city is going to stay empty for decades.
Well, that's not entirely true.
What do you mean?
Komal looks as if he has something she shouldn't have. Kamal's watch dings. She looks at her watch.
We have to go. The ceremony is going to start.
The girls rush from the scene. Fade. Interior passenger compartment night. Full first class passenger compartment. Dimly lit. Most seem to be sleeping on or watching a movie. Jennifer and Komal are seated with Sarah and Brenda on their lap.
I'm so glad we're heading back to Pluto. Earth is nice, but it's just not home.
I am looking forward to sleeping in my own bed.
They went all out for Pluto's contribution.
I felt like a queen the whole time.
Well, you were the star. President of the Pluto Trade Union and all. Sarah and Brenda had the time of their lives.
Think nothing of it. You helped out the project immensely. I don't think we could have finished on time without you.
Red lights start to flash and seatbelts signs light up. The women place the children into their protective seats and buckle them up.
Stow your belongings and fasten your harnesses. Raiders have been spotted.
That's strange. I thought they only attacked full ships headed for Earth.
Seems like they're hitting anything these days.
At least we have an escort time.
Lighting in the room goes to a red glow, flashes from the windows. The children wake up. Jennifer and Komal reach over and hold the toddler's hands.
This is not right. Not right at all.
We'll be fine.
More flashes. The ship shakes. Everything goes dark. Fade. Exterior cargo ship space. Ships battle in space. A large ship receives a direct hit to the engines and the thrusters flame out. Fade. Exterior passengers compartment night. Red lights illuminate and flashes of yellow arrows everywhere.
Abandon ship! Abandon ship! Hull breach imminent! Leave all belongings and make your way to the escape pods immediately!
Pandemonium erupts. Is someone else reading?
I was muted. Pandemonium erupts. Jennifer and Komal frantically unstrap themselves and the children. They run off in the direction of flashing arrows. Lights flicker. People scream. Everyone pushing and shoving. Komal and Jennifer get separated. They try calling out for each other, but get pushed further apart. Jennifer and Sarah are shoved into a life pod. Jennifer straps in, but there are no accommodations for a child. Jennifer unzips her jacket, places Sarah inside, and zips it back up. Jennifer hangs onto Sarah with all her might. Fade. Exterior cargo ship space. Ships continue to fight. A pod is jettisoned and clipped by a laser. The lights flicker off, and it spins out of sight. Fighting continues as pods are picked off by raiders. Fade. Interior Pluto apartment day. Open concept apartment. Bulkheads poke their way through some of the walls. Abbud, 50s, and Jack, 20s, are seated at a dinner table. Both men look like they just got home from a dirty job. Light music in the background.
Are you looking forward to girls getting back?
And Jack. Clint, are you unmuted?
What do you think, Jack? Are you looking forward to it? Yeah. Girls?
4 weeks. We've been separated. Oh, wait, we have never been separated for so long. I miss him so much.
You just missed the home cooking.
The music cuts off and an alternating alert is broadcasted. Both look towards the living room.
Another military action near Jupiter today. A transport ship has been attacked. The central government says the incident will be dealt with swiftly.
The newscast tapers off. Jack jumps up and grabs the tablet. He frantically taps on the screen and he paces back and forth, then slowly sits back down in his chair.
What is it? What happened?
Jack sits down slowly.
It's the girls. That's their ship. There's been a hull breach.
Oh, God.
Fade. Interior military bridge day. Captain 50 shouts at an officer 30s. Any signs of life? Any at all?
We are looking, sir. There is so much debris, it is hard to tell. It would be amazing if anyone survived.
Sir, I have something, sir. Heat signatures, but very faint. They're here. Life pods, 3 kilometers off the port bow. Non-functional, but there's heat signatures in the cabin.
Send a recovery team immediately. Keep searching. There were 60,000 people on that ship. There has to be more.
On it, sir.
Interior, life pod, night. Dimly lit life pod. Sign of frost. One passenger still strapped in, dead with ice hanging from his nose. A pile of bodies against a wall. Sparks emanate from the hatch. Once cut, the door is pushed out of the way. It hits the floor with a loud clang. And Officer 2, 20s, peers into the craft. Officer 2.
Is that Officer Morgan?
Toni is not here for Officer
Clear.
2.
Oh, God.
A medic, 20s, scans a pile. Officers rush in and carefully pull bodies apart.
They're cold and dead.
And the
Supposed to
medic
pause.
continues to scan. The pile of officers move more bodies out of the way.
I still see heat signatures.
More bodies removed, revealing Jennifer and Sarah.
I have one alive. And another.
Fade. Interior Pluto Hospital day. Crowded hospital waiting room. Large group waiting. News reports of attack on a waiting room monitor. Nurse 25 enters. The nurse looks down at the tablet.
Mr. Jacobowitz, I'm looking for Jack Jacobowitz.
Jack raises his arm and runs to the doctor, followed closely by Abbud.
Hey, I'm Jack. Are they okay? Can I see them?
Come with me. I will take you to them.
What about Komal? Komal Jacobitz. Is she okay? I'll come too.
Sorry, sir. I don't know about Komal, but I will ask. One at a time for now.
Stay here. I'll return with some news as soon as I can.
Time passes.
Time passes. Do you want me to take over?
Go for
Yes.
it. Yeah, thank you.
Time passes on a clock on the wall beside the screen showing the news reports of the attack. Jack wheels Jennifer into the waiting room. She looks very beaten up with an IV strung to her arm. Abbud rushes over.
Are you okay? You look like hell.
Gee, thanks, Dad. A little beaten up and frostbitten, but I'm okay.
The others? What about Komal and the girls?
Kamal and the kids are in recovery, heavily sedated at the moment. It looks like Sarah's in the worst shape. They tell us she'll pull through, though. Oh, sorry. That's Jack, not Jennifer.
Well, they found us. And
When they found us, we were unconscious. Sorry, that's me. When they found us, we were unconscious. Sarah also had frostbite and other issues.
Issues? What issues?
She can't hear anything. Doctor said it's temporary, but they're very frightened.
Abbud kneels down and hugs his daughter. Jack puts his hands on Jennifer's shoulder. Others in the room place their hands on the family. Some start to pray. The news increases in volume.
Raiders of the overwhelming flight escort then went straight down for the container ship. No records of civilian life. The manifest listed 58,265 souls on board. Less than 1,000 were able to jettison before the hull was breached.
The central government has halted all but essential transport immediately until the raiders can be caught and dealt with.
The Ark is less than 2 years old. The central government has diverted most of the military forces to protect it at all costs.
Interior Pluto hospital room, day. Jennifer looks a little better. Her swelling has gone down and her cuts start to heal. Sarah and Brenda are playing with some toys on a bed. The doctor, 45, enters the room.
Why hasn't Sarah got her hearing back? You said it was temporary. It's been days. I am sorry. I say the damage to Sarah was much more than we first suspected. The nerves in her ear are growing back, but we didn't see the brain damage until the results came back from the detailed body scan. Damage can be repaired, but we don't have the equipment on Pluto. She will be transported to Earth for treatment. I have been in contact with Earth, but they're ready to help Sarah, but we cannot transport her due to the travel ban. So she's decided not to qualify for essential travel. Not essential? How long will it be to take Sarah to Earth? I wish I had an answer, but we've been waiting until the ban is lifted. She's otherwise fit for discharge. You could take her home today. What can we do for her at home? How can we even communicate? I work with some amazing people. They will know exactly how to help Sarah and your family. They're not part of my team, and so they will have to contact you directly. It may take a couple of days.
But what do we do until then?
Take her home and make her comfortable for now. I would have my contact get in touch with you. We can set up an appointment with Sarah in a week to check her condition.
Interior Pluto apartment day. News in the background.
The time is almost here for mankind to travel beyond the solar system. After years of searching for a system abundant in resources and the possibility of supporting human life, we are ready to send people to the Canvitas system.
Propulsion experts say that harnessing neutrino technology made this dream a reality. We have been using the technology on probes to the Canvitas system for decades, but not on a ship as large as the Ark.
The science still suspects after the failure of the Liston project. The Liston project was designed to test both the nearest neutrino technology of the time and the ability of the cryogenic systems, organic matter, for long journeys.
The Liston project was a complete failure. It was near completion when it prematurely activated its sails. The ship departed at tremendous speed. Crew on board were not expected to have lived through the intense inertial forces when it hurled itself into deep space.
Fade Interior Earth Government Press Gallery Day. Official government podium in front of a press gallery. A science advisor, 60, in a white lab coat is at the podium.
For a long time, we have been researching the Canvitas system. This system is much larger than ours. It has 23 planets. 2 of the planets are in what we call the green zone. We believe minimal terraforming would be needed for people to live very comfortable. The system is also extremely abundant in all types of resources. More information will be released soon. Hands go up in the gallery. Fade.
Interior Earth News Desk Day. Headline, Human Expansion to a New World. On the wall behind the anchor's desk is a photo of the Ark, a long cylindrical shape with large purple sails. Newscaster 1, 45, and Newscaster 2, 35 are at the desk.
Newscaster 1.
Heather?
We all know the hard work it has been to get the Ark ready for launch this year. Final preparations are already underway to finish the enormous ship on time. The ship, or Ark, as they are calling it, will be able to start terraforming and mining operations in the Canvitas system. Harvested resources will be returned to Earth.
Cryogenic chambers will be available for crew members. At the moment, a person can be suspended for about 1 year before cryogen degradation becomes an issue. Once revived for a few months and treated for cryogen disease, a person can be resuspended for another year.
Plants and animals on the ship will not be cryogenically suspended. They will be shipped in artificial ecosystems. Most of the daily tasks of ship and cargo maintenance will be handled by an army of robots.
Since the plan is to deploy the ship to 2 planets, the ship has been built as 2 independent ships that join together for the intergalactic trip, one ship named North and the other South. This is to reflect the north and south poles of the Earth. It will be hollow inside. The outer walls will rotate around a large center column. The center column will house the storage for the enormous neutrino sails. It will also hold the artificial lighting designed to shine on the cargo containers as they rotate. The outer shell will consist of tens of thousands of cargo containers. Each container can operate independently of each other for deployment in the new system.
The containers will be the height of a mountain and as wide as a great lake. Most will be empty for the trip to Canvatas. After resources are harvested, they will be filled for the return trip.
The entire outer ring of the ship will rotate under the light source in the center to simulate sunlight. Some rings will turn faster than others to simulate the different latitudes on Earth. The lights will have different intensities to simulate the differences, the different distances between the Earth's equator or poles and the Earth's tilt to the sun. On the outside, the ship will have two retractable sails. The sails, once extended, will be far wider than the arc. The side has 4 neutrino collectors that will harness energy from powering daily functions.
Exterior Pluto Park night. A row of apartments on the edge of a courtyard. 3 hooded people in long dark brown robes approach an apartment door at the edge of a park. The smallest of 3 looks around and waves the other 2 to a bench nearby. The figure walks toward the front door and presses the doorbell. Cut to interior Pluto apartment day. Sarah and Brenda playing on the living room floor. Abbud sitting on the couch watching TV with Jack. Jennifer is walking toward them with coffee in hand. The doorbell rings. She places the coffee on the table.
I'll get it.
Jennifer opens the front door. Becky, 30s, short woman with a hood over her head. She pulls off her hood and reveals long, wavy blonde hair and blue eyes.
Hi, my name is Becky. I was sent to talk to you. Can I come in?
Sent? By who?
Dr. Rogers sent me.
Oh, okay.
I was told you have a deaf daughter. I'm here to help.
Jack walks up behind Jennifer.
Who is this?
It's Becky. She was referred to us by Dr. Rogers.
Please, can I come in and talk?
Please, come in.
Becky enters the home. She looks at the 2 girls, then at Abbud.
Can I talk to you 2 privately first?
What's all the cloak and dagger for?
After I explain, I think you'll understand.
Abbud looks up from his tablet.
Is there a problem?
No problem, Dad. This is Becky. She's going to help with Sarah. Can you take the kids to play in their room for a little bit?
Sure. Come on, kids. Time to play some unicorns.
Abbud picks up Brenda and seats her on his hip. Sarah sees this and lifts up her arms. He picks her up and places her on his other hip. They head down the hallway. Jack motions Becky to the kitchen table.
Can I get you a coffee?
Coffee would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'll get the cookies.
Jack follows Jennifer into the kitchen.
What's up with her? You think she'd been spying or something?
Let's hear her out. We need all the help we can get.
Jack and Jennifer join Becky with cookies and coffee.
So you can help Sarah?
I know I can. Sorry for being so secretive, but some people prefer my visits to be low-key. I need to tell you some things that may surprise you, but believe me, it is for your own good. You cannot repeat this to anyone.
Okay.
I represent a group of people that do not want attention. About 300 years ago, there was a large resource war. The government used this as a cover for a eugenics war. Some fear it may happen again.
Yes, many were rounded up.
Eugenic wars have popped up throughout human history. Disabled persons have always been persecuted or shunned to some degree. Bible times, Hebrew laws of 1000 BC, Aristotle, ancient Greeks, Dark and Middle Ages, World War II, and Alexander Graham Bell, just to name a few.
Yeah, but surely we've moved beyond that.
Since the eugenics war of 3700 AD, many are still segregated and hidden from the general public. Families are separated. People are still modified against their will by the government. Since the war, all fetuses are still examined and fixed prior to birth. This is not an option.
But who wouldn't want a perfectly healthy child?
Well, that may be true for the 90% of children who would be born deaf to hearing parents, but some think that the government goes too far. During the war, some groups hid from the government influence in their lives when it comes to genetic manipulation. Some they see it as a violation of their beliefs. Some recognize there's a special advantage to being born as nature intended. I brought a tablet with some history on all kinds of people who needed help but did not get it. I will leave it with you.
Jack and Jennifer look at each other in confusion.
Take your daughter, for example. The government demands you fix her hearing. For the most part, it is great. She knows hearing was raised hearing. If she can be cured without memory loss, that would be awesome.
And that's what's going to happen?
I've witnessed cases where the outcome is very different. You need to know what can happen. What the doctors won't tell you. For example, I represent a family that had a teenage boy who was late deafened due to an accident on Earth. The government stepped in and tried to fix his hearing. The parents were not warned that he may lose his memory in the procedure.
He lost his memory?
The operation only had a 10% success rate. It was a complete failure. He lost every memory he had since birth. He had to relearn everything from hearing to walking. He did not know his parents, friends, or even his own name.
Jennifer and Jack hold hands and looking at Becky in utter horror.
That is just a worst case. I'm not saying that will happen to Sarah, but you need to know the truth.
How is he now?
He's a perfect young man who is deaf. He functions at a high intelligence, works hard, and is a contributing member of our community.
How does he communicate?
He uses multiple forms of communication. When dealing with hearing people, he reads lips, uses voice to text. There's feedback, and I don't know where it's from.
I think Petra's computer might have it.
Oh. And his family and friends uses sign language.
Sign language?
His family and friends, yes. Sign language is a language that is based on body movements and facial expressions to convey communication. Jack?
You teach sign language?
Not often. I only teach sign if I have to, but I'm happy to interpret for deaf and blind. We have teachers right here on Pluto that can teach Sarah. To teach Sarah, you and your family how to sign.
Well, we won't need, because Sarah will be cured as soon as we get her to Earth.
When will that be? Tomorrow? Next week? A year from now?
Well,
Sarah needs language now. Language deprivation is no joke. The first years of a child's life can determine how they deal with their surroundings for the rest of their lives. She needs communication now. You also need a way to communicate with her.
I mean, we definitely need something. How do we learn sign language?
I will send teachers to your home every day. If people ask, tell them they are aides from the hospital to help you with Sarah. They will also help you look after Sarah.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
And if you have any issues or need help with our contact information is on the tablet. Someone is available to help anytime. I cannot stress this enough. It has to be kept quiet. Only tell people vetted by our group. I will go now and return tomorrow as Sarah's teacher. Use the tablet and learn the history. There are also some lessons on the tablet. You can start helping Sarah today.
can we tell Abbud? I mean, he'll know what's going on.
Yes, he's already been vetted by the group.
Already been vetted? How? Why?
Please don't take offense to this, but before I was allowed to talk with you, each member of your family had to be checked. The system's not perfect, but we have to be very careful.
I don't like that at all.
It's only a precaution. We have to do it for everyone's safety. You will see why as time passes.
Words at the bottom of the screen. Months go by. Images of Sarah and her family being taught sign language. Interior Pluto apartment day. Becky, Jack, Jennifer, Komal, and Sarah sitting at the kitchen table.
I want to take you to a special place. I think you're ready.
Special place?
A food court that is hidden from the general public, a gathering place for the community.
It's a secured part of the colony where only vetted members of our group can access. A safe haven for sign language.
I've been there. It really is amazing.
Jennifer turns to Sarah, 4.
Would you like a field trip?
Yes, Mama.
Interior Earth News Desk Day, Anchor Desk. Video beside Newscaster shows rotating pictures of the Ark.
The Ark is almost complete. Earth has been able to watch it grow from the size of Earth's moon. It has been outfitted with all the latest technology. Due to the Ark's size, it will take 6 years for the Ark to accelerate to maximum inertial speed. When maximum inertia is achieved, the sails will be retracted and stored until they are needed for deceleration, which will also take the last 6 years to slow down.
At the moment, we can send probes to Canvatus in less than 5 years, but due to the size of the Ark and live cargo, that is not possible. The expected time for the Ark to arrive in Canvatus is approximately 30 years. A relay network of probes have been set up between Earth and Canvatus. Daily reports will be received through the relay system and broadcasted across our solar system with only a very minor delay.
There will only be 8 people on the Ark at the time of the launch. A planned growth of people will continue throughout the trip. Embryos will be lab grown and assigned to passengers at predetermined times.
It took centuries of planning, building, training, and developing robots for specific tasks. Also automating equipment, selecting animals, plants, and collecting a history of Earth's archives.
Not everyone agrees with the central government about how many resources are being diverted to the Ark project. Conflicts are continuing to escalate over our resources.
The launch crew will consist of an oceanographer, zoologist, inventor, master mechanic, and a botanist family with newborn twins.
Fade, Interior Earth News Desk Day, News Desk.
Earth starts the celebration of the Ark breaking Earth's gravity today. The Ark will make stops at Saturn, Jupiter, and finally Pluto to load containers destined for the Canvatas system. Celebrations are planned during all its stops over the next month.
Fade, Interior Government Newsroom Day. View of a podium with government logo in the background. A press gallery is noisy and busy as they take their seats. The minister's aide, 30, steps up to the podium. The crowd quiets down and people sit.
The Prime Minister has a statement. Please hold all questions until after she is finished.
There is a small pause. The aide looks over his shoulder, then dismounts the podium. Prime Minister, 40, a female in a business suit and large sculptured hat, steps up to the podium. A couple of drones fly in front, take some snapshots, then fly out of view. She tugs at her suit and holds onto the podium.
My military advisors have informed me that they found and eliminated the raiders plaguing our solar system.
The crowd cheers, then quiets down.
A raider base was discovered on Nereid. It is a moon in orbit around Neptune. Our forces were able to catch them by surprise. We suffered only minimal losses in the mission. We believe it was their only major base in the system. There may still be pockets of raiders, but we believe the major threat has been neutralized. Some commercial transport will return to normal operations after the Ark's departure. My advisors will answer your questions. Thank you for your patience.
There is shouting and cheering from the press gallery. She dismounts the podium and an admiral mounts the podium. News crews jump up, raising their arms and shouting. Fade, Interior Pluto Food Court Day. Bustling food court, hundreds of tables, 3 large monitors above some stores with different channels showing. Sarah and Brenda are playing in a window well. They communicate using sign language. Jack, Jennifer, and Komal are sitting at a table in front of them.
The girls communicate very well.
Children do pick it up quick. I don't even know what they're saying half the time.
You will get better.
They watch the girls for a bit.
Becky has an amazing opportunity she wants to share with you.
What kind of opportunity?
It is not mine to share. I've been working close with the community for some time now. She will need a quick decision though, because time is running out. I want you both to know I stand behind your decision. Whatever you decide.
Sounds serious.
It is. Take time to think about it. Talk to Dad and get his opinion as well.
Becky joins the group. They share hugs and handshakes. A group of people in brown robes crowd around them, so they are hidden from the rest of the food court.
It's good to see you again. I can't express how thankful we are. You've done so much for our family.
I'm glad we could help. You're muted.
Komal said you had something you wanted to share with us.
Yes, I have to be brief because there's a lot to get ready for. I don't think it would have been possible without Komal's help. She's been instrumental to our group.
If it wasn't for my position with the trade union, I don't think I would be much help at all.
Still, I want to express our thanks from the community.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
I know this will sound strange. You are still hoping to have Sarah cured on Earth. That will be wonderful if she can get her hearing back. Whatever you decide, remember, I have your back 100%.
Oh, we've been reading up on the procedure. They reassure us it can be done safely.
They will always tell you the good stories about the procedure. I don't want to scare you, but I've seen many people that the treatment did more harm than good. It's something we have to think about. It's something to think about, not what. It is something to think about, but not why we are here today. Next month, the Ark will arrive at Pluto to pick up the last of the cargo containers headed for the Canvadas system.
I've been getting mining equipment ready for the trip.
You cannot tell anyone what Becky is about to tell you. This is the highest secret the community is protecting. Some have taken this information to their graves.
Okay, now you're starting to scare me.
We do not share this information with you lightly. It may be hard to believe, but trust me, it is very true. This is not the first journey of humans to the Canvadas system.
What? You're not serious.
Yes, very serious. I can't tell you all the details, but we have a group of people in the Canvadas system. Our people have been there for hundreds of years. They fled to the Canvadas system during the Eugenics War.
Jack and Jennifer's jaws drop. They look at each other in confusion.
I can vouch for Becky's people. I have spoken with people in the Canvadas system. My role with the Pluto Trade Union has given me the chance to help the community communicate with Canvadas. My predecessor was also involved and helped them many times.
Jack and Jennifer hold hands as they look at Komal in amazement.
What do you need from us? Is it dangerous?
We're so thankful for what you've done for our family, but this scares me.
It's not what you can do for us, but what the community can offer your family. We are sending more people to Canvadas with equipment and supplies. We have acquired many containers that will be loaded on the Ark.
Are you going to stow away on the Ark?
Well, not me personally, but yes. We have hundreds of thousands ready to take that voyage.
That many? That's ridiculous. How?
You have seen the size of the containers we're sending, each one the size of a city. They have been working on this since the Ark was just a thought. They can do this. They have to do this.
Our people in the Canvadas are ready. They need the equipment we're sending.
But surely they'll be detected.
We've taken the steps to appear to the ship's crew as robots. Our containers are very luxurious and have all the comforts of home. The reason I'm here today is to offer you and your family voyage on the Ark.
Us? Go to Canvadas?
I didn't understand it at first when Becky proposed it, but it would be amazing.
I can't. Our home is here. Our family's here.
Take some time to think about it.
Jack and Jennifer look at Sarah and Brenda playing in the bay window. Sarah takes a sticker of a hand showing love and places it on the window. Fade interior Pluto apartment day. Abbud, Jack, Komal, and Jennifer are sitting at the kitchen table. Sarah and her sister are playing in the living room.
The doctor called today. They can have Sarah on a shuttle to Earth in a month.
Well, that's after the Ark leaves. Becky needs our answer today.
You should stay with family. We're here to help.
Whatever you decide, I back you all the way.
Jennifer and Becky will take Sarah to Earth, and we'll do the procedure.
I agree. It's a wonderful offer to go on the Ark, but our place is here. Our home and family is here. Becky said she'll teach Sarah because most of the teachers are going on the Ark.
It is for the best.
They look at Sarah. Fade exterior Pluto arc space. Arc at Pluto. Large purple sails start to light up. The camera closes in on a large window. You can see that the windows are lined up with people waving. Sarah and her family are in the window waving. A reflection arc is in the window. Sarah is looking at the arc in astonishment. She holds up one hand, love. The arc's reflection moves across the window. Sarah follows the arc as she watches the arc leave. The camera pans back out and around the building so the arc is in the background. The arc slowly moves away as different sections of the purple sails light up like a flame. The more that lights up, the faster it flies away until there is just a streak of purple. Fade out. Interior Earth's doctor's office day. Jennifer, Sarah, and Becky are in an exam room. Sarah is looking out the window while the girls talk.
Hate being here. I always have a bad feeling when on Earth. I'm happy for you. I'm happy to be here for you and Sarah, though.
We couldn't do this without you.
Sarah turns to Becky.
After the hospital, we are going to the galactic playground. I am going on all the rides.
Yes. After the hospital, we'll go. We're here all week, and Komal may join us tomorrow.
Jennifer strokes Sarah's hair.
Your sister, she's going to be jealous of you.
I wish she could have come.
I know, but we'll bring you both together again. Someday.
A doctor enters the room. He taps on a tablet and shows it to Sarah. Hi, Sarah. It's nice to see you in person. Sarah waves to the doctor as he leans over to her mom. Then looks at Becky. The doctor places the tablet on the bed.
Sarah's still learning to read. It might be better if Becky translates for you.
Translates?
Yes, I'm a sign language interpreter.
Sign language? I've never known somebody who could sign.
Becky rolls her eyes.
I'm not surprised. Just try not to rush through your words, and you may have to pause sometimes so I can catch up.
The doctor addresses Jennifer, and Becky translates for Sarah.
We have some good news. We can have Sarah hearing back tomorrow. It's quick and painless procedure. She will have some difficulties at the start, but it'll be overwhelming at first. I wish we could have seen her sooner, but I am convinced she will have a speedy recovery.
But how long's the recovery going to take?
The medical side will be done quick, but I suspect months of rehabilitation as she learns what makes noise and what doesn't. Most of that can be done on Pluto.
And the long-term effects?
We don't anticipate any long-term effects. This procedure can be done many times. The only concern is the time she has spent without hearing may make some rehabilitation harder, and it takes a little more time.
And will there be any problems with memory loss?
We don't anticipate memory loss.
What's the success rate of this procedure?
We have the best results of any hospital doing this procedure.
Hold on for a moment, Doctor. I'd like to talk to you without Sarah for a few minutes. Becky, can you take Sarah outside?
Come, Sarah. Let's play outside.
Becky escorts Sarah from the room.
Doctor, I need to know the hard facts. What are the chances that Sarah will have memory loss? And please don't beat around the bush. We need to know what can happen if things go wrong. I'm not a doctor, but I've read up on the procedure, and from what I've read, there's only a 50% chance it'll work with no complications. What about the other half?
I can assure you, this procedure is very safe. We have, with any medical procedure, there will always have a chance of complications. The 50% you were talking about is for perfect recovery. There's sometimes minor issues like memory loss, but in those cases, rehabilitation will take care of that.
So there's no risk of her losing all of her memories?
As I said, it's very rare complication.
Complication?
I assure you, it will be fine.
How many of your patients have this complication? I want to see the stats.
The doctor holds up his index finger, looks down at the tablet, taps it a few times and hands it to Jennifer. She looks at the tablet and swipes it a few times.
40%? Sarah has a 40% chance of losing all of her memories.
Unfortunately, yes. But I don't see that happening in Sarah's case. Look, if you don't want the procedure, she will be deaf for life. Do you want that?
I don't want her to lose everything she's become either.
I understand you're upset and frustrated. Take time to think about it. Why don't you give it a week? You will see it's for the best thing for Sarah. We're ready to do the procedure, but a week's delay won't matter. Take the tablet. Read the success stories. You'll leave. I will leave the room for a bit.
The doctor leaves the room. Tears fill Jennifer's eyes as she places the tablet on the bed. After a few moments, Becky pokes her head into the room.
Thought I should check on you.
Just want to get out of here.
Jennifer chokes back her tears. Sarah slips in under Becky's arms into the room.
Mama, what's wrong, Mama?
Jennifer
Don't
wipes
worry.
away her tears and composes herself.
Don't worry. Mom's just happy for you.
Fade, exterior Earth Galactic Playground Day. Biggest amusement park on Earth. Sarah, Jennifer, and Becky are standing in line for a ride. Sarah is in front of being entertained by a character in a costume, looking amazed and excited, a huge cotton candy in her hand.
What did the doctor say when we were out of the room? I know you were very upset. I could hear you from outside.
The doctor said he was only expecting a 50% chance of full recovery. There'll be extensive rehabilitation as Sarah will have to relearn what sound is again.
That doesn't sound too horrible. We knew it was going to be hard for her. Did the doctor say anything about the other 50%?
I had to fight just to find that out. He wouldn't even tell me. He showed me the stats on his tablet.
Did he tell you about possible memory loss?
That's what got me so upset. There's a 40% chance she would lose all of her memory.
40%? I was afraid for Sarah knowing that there was a chance, but 40%? I never thought the chances were still that dire.
I don't know what to do. I'll be video chatting with Jack later today, but I don't know if I can explain it to him. How am I going to tell him? I'm already an emotional wreck.
You're strong and you can do it, but let me help. It may be better if I tell him with you.
You're such an amazing friend.
Our entire community is behind you and we can help. You have our full support.
Sarah is excited, looking at everything. She is lifting her arm up, taking pictures with her watch. She turns to Jennifer.
You are right. Brenda is missing all the fun. I will try to record as much as I can for her.
That's okay, sweetie. Just have fun. You can tell your sister all about it when we get home. This is your day.
Fade interior Earth Hotel Room Day. Typical hotel room. The galactic playground can be seen out the window. Jennifer and Becky are video chatting with Jack and Abbud.
Hi, honey. I miss you.
I miss you too. I wish you were here.
How's your trip? What'd the doctor say?
Jennifer's eyes well up. Jennifer picks up a tissue and dabs her eyes.
Something wrong?
Sarah might lose her memory in the procedure.
You mean she'll have some memory?
Jennifer can't control herself and she slides the tablet over to Becky.
They're saying there's a 40% chance she will lose all her memory in the procedure. Every memory she's ever had.
40%? All her memory?
Yes. And they're talking a possible memory wipe. It may be the only way to fix her hearing.
That's ridiculous. Why would they have us do that?
I'm not a doctor, but I've seen it happen before. As I understand it, the area of the damage in Sarah's brain is where it holds the instructions it sorts and references memory. If damaged in the procedure, it will be like the brain cannot reference memories stored in the other parts of the brain.
That's not good.
If it goes bad, she will have to relearn everything. How to eat, walk, talk. She'll not remember anything or anyone. Everything she is will cease and start over.
She won't be the Sarah we know anymore.
How have I never heard of this?
Becky had mentioned it, but and we'd done some research on it. But Becky introduced us to someone from the deaf and blind community that it happened to.
We shouldn't do the procedure, Jack. I don't want to lose Sarah. She's happy now.
Well, are they planning to do it?
The doctor told us to come back in a week with a decision. I don't want it done. I want to go home.
This is not good. Not good at all.
If you decide not to do the procedure, the government will step in and force Sarah to have the procedure done.
What? That's crazy.
It's the law. If Jack and Jennifer refuse, they will be charged with neglect of a minor. And Sarah will still be forced to have the procedure. They might even take Sarah away.
We can't lose our little girl. Look at what she's become. She's strong, independent, smart. We can't lose her, Jack. We can't.
We need more than a week to think about this. We will decide what to do once we all have all the facts.
Okay, honey. I love you.
I love you too. We'll get through this. Komal has some work to do on Earth. She has arranged for a private shuttle to take us there in a week. That's the earliest I can get there. Don't have the procedure done until we get there.
Fade, Interior Earth Doctor's Office, day. Jennifer, Becky, and Sarah are in the exam room. The doctor enters.
I have some sign language online. I hope it's the right dialect. I had an idea that there were so many sign languages. My colleagues have never met anyone who could sign either.
A smile comes across Sarah's face. Becky is translating.
Have you and Jack made a decision on the procedure?
Not yet. Jack will be here tomorrow and we can discuss it more. We might go back to Pluto and get a second opinion from our family doctor.
That's too bad. We were ready to do the procedure today.
But it's a big decision. We just need a little more time.
Okay, wait here. I'll have to get something before you leave.
The doctor leaves the room. A couple of moments later, he returns with 2 orderlies and Officer Morgan, 35. Sarah is sitting in Jennifer's lap. Jennifer wraps her arms around Sarah. Sarah looks at her mom.
Jennifer, my name is Officer Morgan. I'm here with Child Protective Services. I'm here to ensure Sarah's rights are under the Protection of the Child Act.
What are you talking about?
Jennifer hugs Sarah a little closer.
Okay. What are you talking about?
What is happening, Mama? I'm scared.
It's okay, Sarah. Everyone is here to help you.
Becky turns to the officer and snaps at him.
Jennifer's doing nothing wrong. She only wants the best for Sarah.
Ma'am, the law is clear. Refusing medical assistance to a minor is very serious. I'm only here to protect Sarah.
But all I want is what's best for her. We just need more time to understand what that is.
You will get your chance. We understand this is a complicated case. I assure you, Sarah is very sick. In the meantime, Sarah will stay with you here at the hospital.
You can't have her. She's fine with us.
Sarah looks at Jennifer with fear in her eyes.
I'm sorry, she can't go with you today. If everything checks out, you can see Sarah after her assignment tomorrow morning.
Let Sarah stay for now. Trust me, she will be okay for the night.
Becky taps Sarah's shoulder. Sarah turns to Becky.
Sarah, don't worry.
Let me talk to Sarah for a moment, okay?
Jennifer lifts Sarah up off her lap and turns her around.
It's okay. You're going to go with the doctor for now. And we're going to see you in the morning. And Daddy will be with us.
I don't want to go with them, Mama. I want to stay with you.
It's okay, sweetie. You're brave. It's only for the night. We'll see you in the morning. I love you.
I love you too, Mama.
Jennifer hugs Sarah and hands her off to the doctor. The doctor takes Sarah's hand and escorts her from the room. The two orderlies follow. Jennifer waits until they are gone and then breaks down crying. Becky hugs her shoulders.
What happens now?
I suggest you hire a lawyer to help inform you on the situation. There's a few forms here. We better go over.
The officer pulls out a tablet and sits down. Jennifer and Becky look over at the tablet while the officer points to it. Fade Interior Earth Hotel room. Jennifer and Becky are sitting at a table. There's a knock at the door. Jennifer answers. It's Jack. Jennifer rushes in to hug Jack.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
I'm sorry it took so long to get here. I should have been here from the start.
They kiss and hug again. Jack breaks the embrace and looks into Jennifer's tear-filled eyes seriously.
We have to act fast. Pack your things, and we have to go now.
Go where? The hearing isn't even for a few more hours.
We have to go now. Komal has a diplomat shuttle ready for Sarah. Sarah's being picked up from the hospital as we speak.
What is this all about? Jack?
Our lawyer says Sarah will have the procedure right away. We have to say no in this matter.
We can't. We'll lose her, Jack. I just know it.
We won't let them. We have to leave Earth's orbit before the authorities find out.
What are we doing?
Jack hugs Jennifer and whispers into her ear.
We're kidnapping our daughter.
Jennifer's eyes widen. Fade Interior Earth Shuttle Day. Sarah is already in the shuttle, unconscious in a status pod. A medical robot tending to her. Komal and Abbud are in the ship and the loading door is open. Jack, Jennifer, and Becky run in and throw their bags on the floor. A robot picks up the bags and stores them in the closet. Jennifer rushes to Sarah and places her hands on the glass as she peers in. The bay door closes behind them.
What did they do to her?
They're in. Prepare for launch.
Is she okay?
They haven't done the procedure yet. She was upset and they couldn't deal with her, so they sedated her. Can you believe that?
He was in the pod when we got there.
We have to go now. Strap in and get ready for launch.
They strap in as the craft lifts off. Fade Exterior Earth Landing Pad Day. The ship lifts off the pad, hovers for and then disappears into the sky. Fade Exterior Shuttle Space. Shuttle heading away from Earth. 2 fighter craft pull up.
Return to Earth immediately.
This is a diplomatic ship. You have no right to detain us.
We have instructions to escort you to Earth any way possible.
Fade Interior Earth Shuttle Continuous. Komal pushes a button on her console.
Let's leave these idiots in cosmic dust.
How can we escape these fighters?
We have something they don't. Get ready to go faster than you have ever gone before. Earth will not risk an international incident once Sarah is on Pluto.
Komal turns to her pilot. Deploy the neutrino sail. Fade Exterior Shuttle Continuous. Rods extrude from the shuttlecraft. A frame of a sail. As it begins to extend its rods, a purple flame starts to light up and spreads across the sail. As the sail increases in size, the shuttle pulls away from the fighter craft. The fighter craft increases their thruster power, but they are no match for the neutrino sail. As the fighters fall behind, they fire a couple of shots, but they bounce off a shield. The shuttle disappears in a purple line. Fade Interior Pluto Food Court Day. Komal and Jennifer are at a table in a food court. Sarah and Brenda are playing at a table. A crowd of people in long brown cloaks with gold rope around their waist move in and shelter the table from the rest of the food court.
How is the deaf culture research going?
To be honest, I haven't had much time to study.
I know you want to help the community. It's important you learn the history. Becky has a story you have to read. Don't tell anyone, not even Jack for now. At least until you've read it and we can discuss it.
Will you have to kill me if I blab?
Komal looks at Jennifer sternly, then removes a necklace with a small silver locket. She opens it, and there are holographic photos of Jennifer's family.
This is from Becky. It is a very special gift.
Komal closes the locket, then holds the locket up to her eye and presses a button in the center. A blue light scans her face.
Only specific people can use it. I need to scan you so it will work for you. Don't worry, it is harmless.
Komal faces it toward Jennifer. Jennifer leans back hesitantly, then slowly moves her head toward the amulet. Komal presses the button. The locket scans Jennifer's face.
Okay.
Komal hands Jennifer the locket. Jennifer inspects it curiously.
It will work for you now. When you are by yourself and ready to read the story, just have the tablet Becky gave you close by and press the center. It will unlock some secret stories on your tablet.
Oh, it's a key.
Yes. Becky wants you to start with a story named The Listen Project. Read it today.
Well, now I can't wait to get home.
Jennifer closes the locket and places the necklace around her neck, then tucks the locket into her blouse. Komal taps the back of a person covering the table, and the group disperses. 3 large monitors on a wall above the doors are showing different TV stations. The monitors sync to the same image, a large cylindrical space vessel. Words on the screen display, "Please stand by for the daily ARC report." Music in the room goes out, and the PA system captures the sound from the monitors.
Stand by for the latest ARC news.
Maybe after the ARC report.
I might be able to get you some inside information on the ARC soon. My position has its advantages.
Jennifer and Komal pick up Sarah and Brenda and place them on their laps and watch the ARC report. Fade. Interior Earth Oval Office, day. Prime Minister, 40, female, sharp-dressed, is busy looking at some monitors on her desk. An officer, Sherri, 25, and a detective, 40, are escorted in by the secretary, 23. Once the men are seated, the secretary addresses the Prime Minister.
Is there anything else I can get you?
The Prime Minister looks up from her computer.
No, that will be all for now. Thank you.
The secretary leaves and closes the door behind her. The Prime Minister taps her keyboard a few times. Glass monitors retract into the desk. She stands up and greets her guests.
This is Officer Roberts. She'll be heading up a team digging into the Lisbon project for us.
Thank you for joining us, Roberts. I had a hard time finding information on the listing. I hope you had better luck.
I can't tell you much yet, but I can tell you that it was not lost due to an equipment malfunction like most of the official reports say.
Really?
Yes, I can confirm that the ship was hijacked. Beyond that, I'm still digging into it.
I'm looking forward to what you can dig up.
I'll do my best, ma'am.
Fade. Interior Pluto apartment, day. Jennifer and Jack are on the couch in their living room. Jack watching the news and Jennifer swiping a tablet.
I thought you were going to bed early. Remember, you have a long day tomorrow.
Jennifer runs her finger along her necklace.
I was going to, but then I remembered there's a big hockey game tonight. I know the guys at work will be talking about it, so I want to get. I'll head to bed after the sports.
Okay.
Clock on the wall. Time goes by. The sports finish and the TV goes to a commercial.
Now I'm ready for bed.
About time.
What was that?
Nothing, honey. I love you.
Love you too, dear.
Jack leans in and gives her a kiss. He walks toward the bedroom.
Sleep well.
You too, sweetie.
Jennifer watches as he leaves the room and back down the hallway. Once Jack is gone, she pulls out her necklace, holds the amulet up, and presses the center button. The light scans her face, and new icons appear on the tablet. She taps the tablet. Fade. Interior Military Earth Office. Day. Words on the screen. Defense Department, year 3747. Matthews, 50, behind a very large desk. A chime sounds and a holographic image on Matthews' desk displays Stacy, 30.
General Matthews, your 4 p.m. has arrived. Shall I show him in?
Yes, please do.
Stacy enters with Forbes, 35, high rank. Matthews stands up to greet him. They salute and shake hands.
Anything else, General?
No, that's fine. Why don't you knock off early? The office doesn't need you for the rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a nice night, sir.
Good night, Stacy.
It was nice meeting you, Stacy. Have a good night.
Stacy flutters her eyes at Forbes as she leaves the room.
So I finally have the pleasure of meeting you in person. You come highly recommended.
Thank you, sir.
We have a special project that is right up your alley.
Yes, sir.
The general walks over to a safe, opens a door and grabs a briefcase and places it in front of Forbes.
For security reasons, even I cannot open this case. I will leave you the room so you can review the contents in private. If you need anything, press this button and on my desk, and I will return. After you have looked it over, we will discuss what comes next.
Yes, sir.
I have been warned. It will take you a couple of hours to review all the information.
Yes, sir.
Matthews taps his watch and security doors close in front of some cabinets in the safe. He leaves the room. Forbes presses his thumb on a button of the case and it opens. There is a tablet inside with red print on the cover. Confidential. He stands the tablet on the desk. A light scans his body, then the tablet turns on. The display shows a little Liston project and starts to play. Cut to exterior tablet video continuous. A view of a large space vehicle. Titles pop up on the screen. The background photo rotates through different building plans.
The fate of Earth's future may depend on this project. You will set up and run a secret base on the moon Eris. The sole function of this mission is to build a ship destined for a system approximately 6 light years from Earth. Should you require anything, your only outside contact for now will be General Matthews. He will arrange for anything you require. Our scientists have made breakthroughs in many areas, and this will help you with your mission. We have already selected personnel to help you. You will be meeting with them on Saturn in 3 days. All their information is on this tablet for you to review. Thank you for your service.
The film ends and new icons appear. He taps one named Foothold. A film begins showing planets, moons, descriptions, etc. Fade. Interior Eris office day. Large office with a bay window behind a large desk. Words on the screen, decades later. Behind the window is a large warehouse with the frame of a ship. Forbes is at the desk. He looks considerably older. His hair is white and receding. His face has many age lines. He's incredibly thin. His suit jacket hangs on a hanger behind him. It has 5 stars on the collar. Kent, 35, escorted into the room. The secretary closes the door behind him.
I'm glad to see you.
You too, sir.
I trust everything is arranged.
Yes, the shipment will be arriving tomorrow.
I need to talk to you about something.
Anything, sir.
Forbes stands up and looks out the bay window. He arches his stiff back with his hand.
This project sure has been amazing.
Forbes looks longingly out the window at the ship.
I'm going to miss this place.
Sir?
Forbes turns and faces the Kent.
I'm retiring from the service. It's with my recommendation that you take my place. You are going to run this outfit.
Yes, sir. Really, sir?
The paperwork is already done. You will have my chair by Monday. Our crew respects you, This is, they will follow your orders.
What about you, sir? What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Forbes turns back to the window.
I don't know.
His
Fishing,
voice tapers off as he speaks.
I don't know. Fishing, I guess.
Thank you, sir. I won't let you down.
Kent joins Forbes at the window. Fade interior Eris office day. Words on the screen. Decades later, the ship behind the glass is now complete. The bay doors above it are open to space. Blant, 50, looking out the window. Dixon, 25, enters the room.
Blant.
Is everything ready for lunch?
Everything's ready to go, sir.
120 years it took to get ready. Imagine how amazing it will be. The first humans in another solar system.
It's an honor to serve with you, sir.
Interior Liston Bridge Day. Blant and Dixon on the bridge of the Liston, along with bridge crew at their posts. Through the forward window are many floors of windows, each filled with servicemen and women in full dress uniform. An announcement voices over the PA system.
Time to launch in T-minus 10 seconds.
Engines are heard. The ship shakes a bit, then calms down. The rows of service personnel raise their arms and salute.
3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Guide her out.
The Liston slowly lifts out of the hangar, showing more floors of Navy personnel saluting. Cut to exterior spaceport space. Massive doors are open, showing the Liston rising from the bay. It slowly climbs out of its hangar and moves out into space. The ship joins a fleet of ships with Eris in the background. Cut to interior Liston Bridge Day.
That's the last cargo ship.
Good. We're ready for departure tomorrow. The crew will board in the morning and we depart at 1200 hours.
Dixon taps his watch, then quickly pulls his gun on Blant. At the same time, other officers pull their guns on other high-ranking officers.
Not quite. The plan's changed, or the plan we had in mind, General.
What is the meaning of this?
We are in full control of Liston. I am sorry, we had to do it this way, sir.
This is mutiny.
No, General, this is freedom. Freedom for the people that have had to hide and fight for their lives. Salvation for those who have been secretly hunted down for their government. This is the last refuge of hundreds of thousands of people that for no reason have their lives and the lives of their families ravaged by this government. This ship means hope for those who have none.
You will all hang for this.
You're gonna have to find us first, sir.
Dixon addresses his officers.
Please escort Blant and his officers to the life pod.
Blant and officers are escorted from the bridge. Dixon raises his arm and taps his watch. His voice is broadcasted over the PA system.
Congratulations. We have full control of the Liston.
The crew cheer.
Prepare the neutrino burst. Pilot, deploy the sails.
Interior Spaceship Bridge Day. The Liston can be seen outside the windows from another spaceship. A large framework appears from the Liston, and the sail is illuminated like a flame. An escape pod is ejected from the Liston. Captain, 50, is consulting with some officers. Ensign, 20, turns to Captain.
Captain, there is something happening with the Liston.
Captain turns toward the window.
What is that dang fool doing? Open communications to Liston immediately.
They are not responding, sir. A life pod jettisoned from the Liston.
Red alert. Target the Liston sail.
Lights dim on the bridge and flashing red lights illuminate from the walls.
Weapons are
Get them
offline.
online, damn it.
We can't fire. Trying, sir. Looks like sabotage. We can't fire for another 20
They will be
seconds.
gone in 10. Open communications to the rest of the fleet. Someone must have a pea shooter we can take out those sails with.
Cut to exterior Space Fleet space. The Liston's neutrino sail lights up like a flame as it pulls away. Some shots from the fleet graze off the Liston's shields as it disappears in a purple line. Fade, interior Pluto apartment night. Jennifer on the couch. Words on screen. Present day. Jennifer finishes watching the video. It disappears and goes back to the menu.
That's nuts.
Jennifer picks up her coffee cup and tilts it, looking at an empty cup. Jennifer yawns. She places the tablet on the table, removes her blanket, and heads for the kitchen. As she walks away, the tablet's special menus disappear. She fills her cup and returns to the couch, takes a sip from her cup and places it on the table, then pulls the blanket over herself again. She raises her locket and scans herself. The tablet changes to the hidden list of stories again. She sinks into the couch and presses another title, Eugenics War. Time passes on the clock in the room as she watches another video. Fade to interior Pluto apartment morning. Jennifer asleep on the couch, the tablet on her chest. Jack walks into the room. His hair is still wet from a shower. He kneels down beside Jennifer and gently rubs her arm.
Honey, are you okay?
Jennifer wakes up and looks around the room confused.
Have you been up all night?
I must have drifted off while reading. Becky will be by later, and I was reading up on some
Jennifer stretches for a second, then rubs her eyes.
deaf culture.
I'm running late. Are you sure you're okay?
I'm fine. I'll get the girls ready for school and then get some sleep before the girls show up.
Okay, dear. I'm just worried about you working too hard. I love you.
I love you too, honey. I'm fine. Have a good day at work.
Interior Pluto apartment day. Jennifer at the kitchen table looking at the table. The doorbell chimes. Jennifer answers the door. It is Becky and Komal.
Come in, come in. I have some fresh coffee ready and I baked a banana loaf.
Jennifer ushers them towards the dining table, then heads for the kitchen.
Did you get a chance to read some of the stories?
Jennifer returns with a tray of coffee and banana loaf.
I started on it last night. Jack wouldn't go to bed until after the news. I was up all night reading stories. So many questions.
I realize it can be very overwhelming.
I understand now more about the community now. How can you keep this a secret?
It is not us that want to keep history a secret. The government is very good at quashing any public knowledge of the eugenics war and how disabled persons are still persecuted, or even that disabled communities still exist.
The government's been very helpful with Sarah. They supply us with special equipment and funding.
For the most part, since our community has gone underground, the government leaves us alone. We do have high-ranking government officials that work on the community's behalf. Without people like Komal, our community wouldn't exist. Pluto has been a safe haven for a large part of a community, but we also have smaller groups on other planets like Mars and Saturn. Since the Ark left, the community has definitely shrunk in numbers.
Most of the public believe that disabilities are only temporary until fixed by the government.
I feel bad. That's the way I understood it. If it weren't for Sarah and what I've seen from the community, I don't think I would have known any different.
What did you think of the story about the listing?
At first, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I heard a little about the Liston in school. They taught us it was a failed government mission. To find out it's operational and in the Kinvada system with people from the community, you have to believe you have to agree it's unbelievable.
Muted, Becky.
Thank you. I tried to unmute, but nope. Well, it was operational for centuries after the war. It made multiple trips to and from Canvadas as our community escaped. The Liston has been stranded in the Canvadas system for almost 50 years now. Once the Ark arrives in Canvadas, we will have the equipment to make it operational again.
So you have no way of contacting them?
We are in constant contact with the community and Osquas. They are doing really well. They're growing, expanding, and preparing for the Ark's arrival.
Aquas, that's the water planet, right?
Yes, I have only seen videos of it, and it looks beautiful. The community is over 15 million now.
Wow, what's it like?
Fade, interior Aquas underwater city day. Date on screen 3873. Large blue planet seen from space. White caps on poles. A few mountain ranges protrude from the water. The girls are heard talking as the transition occurs. Transition under the water. 4 extremely large domes.
I communicate with them often. Well, maybe not as much as before the Ark left, but they seem to be doing very well.
Sounds amazing.
It was not easy for the first settlers. The Liston could do a round trip in about 15 years. It took a century before the settlement was deemed self-sufficient. The next story you should read is Canvatis' Arrival. It tells the story of the early settlers.
The girls' voices fade. Exterior aqueous space. The Liston, with its sails ablaze, arrives. Its massive neutrino sails flame out and the framework is retracted. It approaches aqueous. Fade, interior Liston bridge day. Dozens cryogenic chambers at the rear of the bridge being tended to by robots.
Cryogenic revival in 10, 9, 8.
Liquid drains from the pods, revealing crew members. Monitors beside the chambers start to show life signs getting stronger.
3, 2, 1. Cryogenic revival procedure successful.
The doors open and slide off to the side. Robots scan the crew with medical equipment as crew members stumble from the pods. They dry themselves off and put on uniforms. Dixon stumbles from his pod and puts on a captain's uniform. The rest of the bridge crew take their positions.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you slept well. I have a splitting headache.
Is this Bob the robot?
I think that's.
I'm the robot. So it's
Okay.
Dixon rubs his temple, and then
Oh, sorry. Dixon rubs his temple.
no worries. Your headache will diminish in a few hours.
Dixon looks at the mirror on the wall. He mutters to himself.
6 years of sleep. I haven't aged a day. I think I actually look younger.
Dixon puts on his hat and looks at the mirror again, then joins Officer Chris, 22, at the command table.
Report.
Chris. Do we know who Chris is?
I am now.
Oh.
All bridge crew present and accounted for, sir. The ship appears to be functioning normally. We are in orbit around Aquis. Most of the passengers and crew are still in cryogenics.
Wake up the operational staff. I want the ship to be checked out from stem to stern before waking the others. Who knows what happened during the flight?
Yes, sir.
Chris taps his tablet a few times.
I think it's time we get a look at our new home. Ensign, retract the forward blast shields.
Yes, sir.
The large blast shield starts to open behind the windows. The crew stand and look out the windows. The view shows the planet Aquis. Dixon walks to one of the windows. He places a hand on the window.
Come and take a look at our new home.
The bridge crew get up from their seats and join Dixon at the window, all looking amazed, signing, talking, and pointing out the window as they approach.
Now look for your first day of freedom. A home where we will all live together in harmony.
The bridge crew snap to attention and salute out the window.
Freedom.
The crew shake hands and cheer as they continue to talk. Sign and point out the window. Fade, interior boardroom day. Large boardroom. A holographic display of mountains surrounded by water on the table. Dixon is at the head of the large table. There are bullet points on a monitor behind him. Officers seated around the table. Some officers are signing with each other as others chat.
Did all our people on Earth neutralize all the other probes in the system?
The room quiets down and all look toward Dixon.
Sir. All our people shut off Earth's communication as planned.
Good. We'll start landing parties to Aquis as soon as possible. Our first objective is in the command center in this region near the equator.
The admiral stands and points at the plateau of the mountain range in the center of the table.
Once we land our cargo ships, the next objective will be to set up the holographic shields and hide our installations. We will only have a few weeks at most before the probes are out of our control again. Earth cannot know we're here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a few more things to go over.
The Admiral turns and looks at the next item of business on the monitor behind him. Fade, exterior Aquas, mountain settlement, evening. Field camp being set up, a container is flown in and placed on the landing site. It unfolds into a large building like others already in place. As a ship lifts off, a light over the city starts to flicker and a view of the mountain obstructs the view of the city. The ship flies through, the holographic shielding appears and flies away. Fade, exterior Aquas Mountain settlement, day, European-style neighborhood. New cobblestone line the roads, people mingling and signing with each other. Captain Dixon, first name Stephen, sits at the table with Chris. Construction is going on. Trees and plants are starting to grow.
You believe this city was shipped in a box from another solar system?
It is hard to believe, sir. A fully functioning city in less than a week, and another being built underwater.
Chris, call me Stephen. We're out of uniform and just members of society here.
Yes, sir. I mean, Stephen. It might take me a while to get used to that.
We'll have plenty of time. Call me sir when we're in uniform.
They laugh. The two sit at the table at a restaurant and start signing each other. Fade out. Exterior Liston Bridge day. Dixon is conversing with his officers at a command table.
Stephen, I mean, sir, Captain, we have learned that one of the satellites near Gia is back under Earth's control. I may just be a matter of hours before we lose the rest.
Is this the underwater city? Or is the underwater city ready? Can we lower the Liston into the ocean?
As ready as we can be, sir.
Let's get this rig out of sight, pilot. Oh, sorry. Pilot, get us to the underwater city.
Aye, aye, sir.
Fade, exterior Liston space. The Liston flies towards Acris. It slowly lands on the ocean surface, then submerges under the water. It parks in between three large flat rings and a large dome. Exterior Aquas Dome settlement day. A shuttle on the floor. Wet spots, hoses and cables strewn about. Construction everywhere. Dixon and others exit the shuttle.
Watch your step, Admiral. We had some issues with the drainage as the dome went up.
I'm fine. Just in awe of what the team could accomplish.
We are almost done with construction materials we bought.
Chris points to a large hangar.
Our mining equipment is in that hangar.
Our people on Pluto will be ready with more supplies and people by the time we get back. I want them to have the Lisbon ready for departure in 2 months.
It is hard to believe it has been 6 years since we started our voyage, and it will be another 12 before we get back here again.
Cryo sure mess with my mind.
Terraforming the atmosphere was not possible this trip.
I was reading a report on that. What happened?
The storms on Aquas have more intensity than we first suspected. Also, the way the air interacts with the ocean has set us back.
So our people will stay here in the domes.
Well, at least until we can get more equipment from Pluto. Short excursions are okay.
We sure have some hurdles to overcome, but overall, I'm amazed at the progress.
Some of the crew have asked to stay and help the new settlement.
Anyone that wants to stay now can. We will return with minimal crew, creating a minimalist crew needed for the trip back. I also hear from Pluto that there are others ready to help to operate the Liston.
Yes, sir. We are going to have a memorial service for those that did not make it through cryo on this trip.
Do we have a final list?
Yes, we lost 923 people in cryogenics.
I always hate getting in one of those dang things. I want every name read out at the ceremony.
Aye, aye, sir.
Fade, interior Pluto apartment day. Words on the screen. Present day. The girls continue to drink coffee and chat.
Becky.
I hope to see it someday. Once my work is done here and the Liston is operational again, I plan to be on the next trip.
You don't want to stay on Pluto?
Pluto has been my life, my home, my entire life. But when the Ark left, most of my family went with it. My new home will be ready for me by the time I get there.
I had no idea your family left. What kept you back?
My work here is far from done. My husband and I decided to stay to help transition the next group.
You're part of our family now. If you need anything, you can count on us.
Yes, our family is large, and you fit right in every occasion.
Thank you. We would be happy to celebrate with your family.
Sarah appears from her room and yawns. The girls greet her with sign language. Jennifer picks her up and sets Sarah on her lap. Sarah leans into her mom.
Poor Sarah is missing her friends.
The food court is so empty now.
Girls continue to chat. Fade, interior, Earth Oval office day. Prime Minister at her desk in the large official office. Sherri is escorted in by Sheila, 30.
Anything else, ma'am?
Hold my calls if you can. Thank you, Sheila.
Yes, ma'am.
The secretary leaves the office.
I heard you had news of the Liston. I'm really interested to hear what you found.
I do, and I think it'll be hard for you to believe.
Prime Minister moves forward on her chair while twirling a stylus.
Tell me more.
The Liston was commandeered from the government by a militant group. There are reports that they still operate in our solar system and possibly in Combatus as well.
What? They're already in Combatus?
I believe so. I've also uncovered some documents that show the group has infiltrated our government and that they've been operating for centuries.
Who are they? I want names.
I have no specific details on them, just speculation so far.
Are they the raiders we keep having to deal with?
I honestly don't know. I do have a video from Combatus taken over 100 years ago. It's not confirmed, but reports say it might be the Liston. As the vessel entered the system, most of our probes malfunctioned in the region and we could not confirm what it was.
The officer hands the Prime Minister a tablet. She watches it, then taps the tablet a few times.
I can't make anything out with that video. As far as I can tell, it could just be a comet.
The only reason the report said it was a ship was because at time index 005, it changes direction.
Oh.
I have a few more surprises for you. Their voices drown out. Fade, interior Pluto food court day. The food court is almost empty. Jennifer and Komal are in their usual spot near the rear windows. They eat while Sarah taps a tablet in the window well. Becky rushes in.
I have some alarming news from Earth. The government is organizing a special division to go find the community. We have to go.
Go where?
Can't tell you that yet.
For how long?
I can't tell you that either. All I can tell you is that you and Sarah should come with us. I have updated your amulet to show more information. Go home and read it with Jack. We'll meet tomorrow and discuss it. For now, stop signing in public.
But I haven't even told Jack about the amulet yet. He hasn't read the stories.
Becky looks around, then moves in closer to Jennifer.
Show him the stories as soon as you can. He needs to see them. Today.
What do they know about the community?
We don't know yet. All we know is that they're sending a group of people to Pluto. We can't be here when they arrive.
When will they arrive?
As far as I know, they may be here already. The food court is not safe, and we're closing it down today. Now go.
The girls hastily grab their gear. Interior news desk day. Words on screen. 5 years later. Headline reads, 5th year celebration. Video shows celebrations from different places in the solar system. Words scroll across the bottom with more celebration stories.
With today's ARC report, we celebrate 5 years since the ARC's launch. Celebrations are in full swing. Everyone has been able to watch as the crew deals with problems they encounter on a daily basis.
There are now 12 people on the ARC, 6 adults, 6 children. Teams 1 and 3 are currently in cryogenics. Team 2 is managing general ship operations. Interior ARC boardroom day. boardroom. Shannon, 25 at the table with Curt, 28.
I can't believe we've done these reports every day for 5 years.
I agree. I would have thought that Earth would be getting tired of life by now.
At least Olivia had the great idea of placing cameras in some of the echo pods so that people can tune into them instead of following us around 24/7. Having every moment captured and sent back to Earth is more intrusive than I thought it would be.
I'm so bored doing the same thing every day.
Dear, there are many things that go on this trip. The rest of the trip is right, especially if it means we have a chance to be the first to see the Convadas.
True. I can't wait till we get there. I mean, I just imagine what will be like.
Okay, let's get this over with.
Shannon and Curt turn their chairs to the list of items on the boardroom display. Exterior arc space, view from behind arc. Suddenly, a small comet rips through the neutrino sails. The sails flicker and then go out. There's a strong shift wobble of the arc. Cut to interior arc boardroom day. Everything is violently thrown to one side of the room. Curt and Shannon along with it. Lights and power interruptions everywhere. Lights go to emergency power. Red and yellow flashes over many different display screens. Cut to interior arc Southbridge deck day. One wall is a large bay window looking into the center of the arc. On another wall is a hallway with glass windows that look across a hallway and into a room of cryogenic chambers. Curt and Shannon rush to the bridge control panel. Curt's head is bleeding. They frantically assess everything they can, looking over monitors and tapping displays like crazy. One display overlooked flashes, cryogenic failure over and over.
What the hell's going on?
I don't know. I'm getting reports of damage from everywhere.
Interior arc cryogenics day. Rows of cryogenic chambers. Monitors on containers start a countdown.
Revival in 3, 2, 1.
One pod completes the countdown. A door lifts up and steam exits the unit. The door slides off to the side. Matt, 30, large, muscular man with ice on his body, stumbles out, landing on his hands and knees. He looks dizzy and holds one ear blinking with bloodshot eyes. He breathes in a deep couple of times, then looks up at a monitor with the name Lisa Clark, 6, on the display. He gains his bearing and focuses his eyes. He stumbles to display and starts frantically tapping control panels while watching life signs change erratically.
Come on, damn you, work.
Matt kicks the bottom of the wall. After a few attempts, the monitor shows the countdown going past 8.
Cryogenic container stable.
He gets one running on another pod with Brandon Clark, 6, on the display.
Cryogenic container stable.
He goes to the one labeled Olivia Clark, 27. Life signs are all flatlined. In the background, there's a view of other pods with all kinds of lights flashing. He looks at them for a brief second. Their screens all have light signs. He completes the sequence on Olivia's pod. He pauses for a brief moment, puts his hand on the glass, and looks at her face. Matt runs to the other pods. The screens have changed, and now only one is displaying life signs, but still flashing error messages. He starts with that one. After working at it, Matt gets 2 pods to show life signs.
Cryogenic container stable.
2 more pods show no life signs and keep flashing. Brandon and Lisa's pod door open with gushes of steam.
Revival complete.
Matt briefly looks over at his family. He finishes the countdown on the last 2 pods, then rushes to his family. Brandon's pod is open and Lisa's is only half open. Matt struggles with Lisa's door and manages to get it open. He helps his twins out of their pods while they look up at Olivia. Her life sign monitors still have flat lines. Going down on his knees with a child in each arm, he hugs them, both with tears running down his face. The children are stunned, watching all the chaos in the room. Matt looks up again at Olivia. Her eyes are closed and nothing on the screen now. Cut to interior arc Southbridge deck day.
Cryogenics chamber failure recorded.
Shannon looks up from her monitor, then towards the cryogenics room. Her eyes go wide. She runs out of the room. Interior arc cryogenics day. Shannon runs in. Matt is on the floor hugging his two children. Shannon rushes over to the other pods. She picks up an infant from a pod, then looks quickly at the rest of the pods. Brent, 25, and Sheila, 2. The containers are showing green with normal life signs. Cindy, 25. Pod doors open, but she is lifeless. Shannon shields the eyes of the infant she is carrying and hands her off to a waiting robot.
Medbay now.
The robot leaves the room with the child. Matt pushes his twins toward Shannon and points toward the door. Shannon reaches for the two children.
Come, we have to go.
Shannon runs out with a child in each arm. Matt carefully lifts Olivia from her pod, tears streaming down his face. He places her on the floor. Matt grabs a first aid kit from the wall and opens it. He pulls out a CPR vest and slides it under her back. It wraps around her chest and starts compressing. He grabs an oxygen mask from the kit and places it over her mouth. Shannon and two robots rush into the room, pushing med beds. The robots both have white cloaks with giant red crosses. Shannon points to Cindy's pod while she grabs a med kit from the side of one of the beds. The robots lift Cindy from her pod and place her on one of the beds. Shannon starts CPR on Cindy. With a big inhale and arching of her back, Cindy starts to breathe on her own. The robots roll Cindy out of the room. Shannon checks on the displays of the others. They are still green with good life signs. She looks over her shoulders at Matt and Olivia. Matt sits on the floor. He pulls Olivia's cold, limp body into his arms, hugging her tight. Fade out. Interior arc waiting room, day. The waiting room has large windows that look into the med bay. Matt is in the waiting room looking into the med bay. Red and yellow lights flash on the walls. The med bay is well lit. One bed with a woman and 3 with children. They're all lying still. Robots in long white robes with red crosses tend to the patients. Shannon runs into the waiting room and starts pulling on Matt's arm.
We need you. We need you now.
Matt violently shakes off her hand.
What the hell happened?
Shannon looks at him with distress in her eyes.
We don't know yet.
Matt's face changes from anger to worry, and they both rush out of the room. Interior Pluto food court day. Sarah, now 9, in a very busy food court. In the background, there are stores with robots dispensing food and other items. A man sits down slowly beside Sarah with his gaze glued to 3 large monitors. Sarah looks at the man, then up at the monitors. She sees a picture of the Ark on the screens and a headline in large letters. Comet hits Ark. Comet hits Ark. A comet crashing through the sails is shown over and over. The screen flips to a news desk. Interior news desk day.
Justin, catastrophe on the Ark. Officials say they have lost all contact with the live feeds.
Interior Pluto food court day. Jennifer approaches Sarah with her back to the screens. She waves at Sarah to get her attention.
You okay?
Sarah points to the screens. Jennifer looks up. Her eyes go wide and she holds her chest. She slowly sits down beside Sarah and pulls her arm around while looking at the monitors. Interior government newsroom day. Prime Minister's aide steps up to the podium.
Prime Minister has a statement. Please hold all questions until she is finished.
There's a pause. The aide looks over his shoulder, then dismounts the podium. The Prime Minister steps up to the podium. A couple of drones fly in front and take some photos, then fly out of view. She tugs at her suit and holds onto the sides of the podium.
Approximately 48 hours ago, our Ark was struck by a stray comet. The comet was extremely small and passed by at a great speed. We don't believe our crew on the Ark had any warning before the incident. The Ark still appears to be on course, but there is extensive damage to the north sails. We now know the rest of the ship was not directly hit. Damage to the rest of the ship appears to be from gravitational pull of the comet passing close. The north sails are inoperable. Attempts to retract the north sails have failed. Our plan is to rotate the Ark and start using the south sails.
She pauses and looks down and regains her composure.
Unfortunately, I have the duty to report that there were problems with the cryogenics containers during the emergency. Olivia Clark was one of those containers and passed away during the incident.
The crowd gasps. She pauses, looks down for a moment, and regains her composure again.
We do not have a full assessment of the damage yet, but we hope to have more information for you very soon.
Flashes go off in the room. Pandemonium erupts in the press gallery. The minister steps down and rushes off stage. The minister's aide steps back up to the podium. Interior Arc waiting room day. Matt in the medical bay, sitting on a chair between his two children's beds. The medical bay is dark with just soft lighting in the room. On the wall behind the beds are monitors that display life signs of the patients. Matt has a tablet in one hand that is shining a glow on his face. Matt looks worn out as he swipes the tablet. In the waiting room, Shannon's standing with an infant draped over her shoulder, sleeping. She rocks the infant quietly. Curtis walks into the room with another infant asleep in his arms as well. He leans in towards Shannon and whispers,
What are you doing?
Cindy is sedated, and Eric slipped into a coma soon after he arrived. Matt's kids are doing well, sleeping for the moment.
There's still a lot of work to be done, but I think we can get back on track. The ship looks secure. Robots are making repairs. I checked on Brent and Sheila in the crypt in cryo before I came, and all looks good there.
The medbots say Cindy and Eric may be sedated for a few days. Their bodies received a huge amount of trauma.
Shannon straightens up, kinks her neck, kisses her little one on the head, then leans back to Curt.
Matt has been in there for more than 20 hours. I offered to sit with his children and wake him if anything happens, but he refuses to leave.
He wanted help with the repairs, and I gave him some damage reports to work on. Some of the hydroponic containers need some work, and to understand the cargo better than I do. I don't want to tax this any more than the mission is bigger than all of us.
Interior Arc waiting room day. The waiting room has been transformed into a boardroom. An image on the wall shows points of information, some highlighted. Robots show different types of damage on their chest monitors. A hollow image of the Ark on the table showing damaged sails. Shannon and Matt sit at the table looking over tablets. Shannon turns to Matt.
How are you doing? Did you get any sleep at all?
Sorry, what was that?
I was asking how you were doing.
I try. I just can't sleep. I keep thinking if I could have gotten to Olivia sooner, I could have.
You did all you did. You did anyway. I don't think the rest would have made it.
All I do is roll around in bed and stare at the ceiling. I also have this terrible ringing in my ears all the time, and I'm dizzy.
What did the doctor say?
Lisa had some sort of seizure today.
Oh my.
Yeah, they said it was a focal seizure. They are doing some tests. It was probably due to the stress on her body during the failed cryogenic wake-up. They want to monitor her for a while.
Oh, I'm so sorry you have to go through this, Matt.
Brandon is doing well, but I thought he could keep Lisa company while she's in there. They both need each other right now. I haven't told them about their mother yet. As far as they know, she is still in cryo.
I can't even imagine what you're going through. If you need anything, let us know.
Curtis comes in carrying a stack of tablets and sets them on the table. He looks at Matt.
Have you been in contact with Earth? They know about Olivia.
Again? I was distracted.
Home knows about Olivia. Everyone is concerned about you and your family, as am I. I know it's been crazy around here.
Curt waits until he makes eye contact with Matt.
The doctor says you still haven't been properly checked out yet.
I haven't had a chance. I am fine. Just need to work and keep my mind occupied.
What you need is sleep. I don't want to be hard on you with all that's going on through here, but the repairs are processing well, and we can manage without you for a while. We have orders for Earth to have you checked out properly. You are on medical leave until further notice and need to report to the medical bay now.
Matt looks longingly through the window at his children. Interior Arc Medical Room Day. A medical robot hands Matt a tablet.
You have completed a full body scan. We have damage to your thing and have reset your vestibular crystals.
My what? In my what?
You have ringing in your ears, hearing loss, and dizziness. Those issues stem from damage to your inner ear. Most likely, you have blood interruptions in those areas during revival sequence.
Is it serious?
It can be if untreated, but we have started repairs. Most of damage will be simple procedure.
We have a scheduled
procedure later today. The hairs on your trochlear will probably take a few months to completely regenerate. Until then, we still have hearing loss and dizziness. Once the repairs have been done, you will hear better than before the accident.
And the ringing? Can you fix that too? The ringing is driving me mad.
The ringing is the wave the brain trying to reconnect with the cochlears. The stereo cochlears regenerates the ringing should stop. I am supplying you with some sedatives to help you sleep.
Matt shows signs of relief.
How's Lisa doing?
She will be deaf until we can repair some of the damages to her pontomedular junction.
The robot hands Matt another tablet. Matt looks stunned, then concerned as he swipes the tablet. He looks like he is going to ask a question, then swipes the tablet again.
You're telling me she can't hear anything?
Lisa has follicular seizures and suffered damage in the area where nerves from her inner ear connect to her brain. She will have dizziness and cognitive issues.
She's going to be okay though, right? You can fix this, right?
Yes, it can be repaired.
Matt looks relieved.
There are currently 3 hospitals on Earth capable of this procedure.
Earth? You're telling me we can't fix her here?
The Ark does not have the equipment or facilities necessary.
The robot picks up a tablet off the bed and exits the room. Matt watches the robot in stunned silence. Interior Arc Waiting Room Day. Matt alone at the table. He gazes at the children in the med bay. There's a robot besides Matt.
What is the definition of deaf?
Definition of deaf. Adjective. Definition 1. Lacking the power of hearing or having impaired hearing. Definition 2. Unwillingness or inability to hear or pay attention to something.
How does someone communicate with deaf people?
Always face a deaf person. Make eye contact and keep it while you are talking. Try not to look away or cover your mouth, as deaf rely on lip reading to help them understand.
A list of bullet points display on the robot's chest showing other suggestions.
One of the most important points to remember is keep trying. Even if a deaf person does not understand what you are saying the first few times, it may have 4 or 5 times of rephrasing or even writing it down. Don't give up.
What if they can't read lips? How can we teach a deaf child to read lips?
Early 16th century. Since the beginning of formal deaf education in Spain, oralism or mainstreaming was taught into the 22nd century around the world. Oralism provides members of privileged classes with deaf children a way to channel their children's education. Speaking with equated with higher classes or higher intellects, signing with the lower.
What is signing?
Sign language. Noun. A system of communication using visual gestures and facial movements. Used by deaf people. Signing for deaf or tactile signs for deaf, blind will be widely practiced since the 3700s. Medical advancements will able to fix disabilities or disabled. Deaf, blind communities disappeared, now only referred to in history archives.
Matt pauses for a moment, then again looks at his children through the window.
Robot, please program Lisa's teacher bot with oral methods of education for the deaf.
Affirmative.
Into your ARC boardroom day, Matt, Shannon, and Curt are sitting at the table in the waiting room. Matt seems distracted as he looks into the medical bay at his children. Brandon and Lisa are playing cards on a bed in the med bay.
Curt, what is the latest report with cryogenics?
It seems there's a fault with the emergency wake-up procedure. If allowed to be revived under the normal circumstances, it looks like there will be no issue. We have taken the emergency wake-up protocols offline for now and set the regular wake-up procedures to run in case of emergencies, at least until we have time to find out what's wrong. The pods for Brent and Eric are still functioning normally. For now, I think we should leave them in the pods for the normal cycle.
I always hate getting into one of those things. What about the rest of the ship?
Most of the repairs are progressing surprisingly well. There are a few things I would probably ask Brent or Cindy if they were here, but nothing more serious. The south sails are operating normally. We're back on track to reach full inertia. Once we are at the full inertia, we can start repairs on the frame of the north sail.
What is the latest medical report?
Cindy and Sheila have been released from the med bay and are recuperating in their quarters. They should be ready to return to cryogenics in a few weeks.
That's great news.
Brandon has been released medically and is staying in the med bay for now. Lisa will be in med bay for a while. She has some brain damage. She also has dizziness and cognitive issues for some time. This also is affecting her voice and temperament. With the brain damage, there is also a large risk of cryogenics disease. I suggest we skip her cryogenic cycle and reevaluate before the next cycle. The rest of her body appears to be functioning normally.
Oh my. I am so sorry.
Brandon and I are going to skip our next cycle.
Matt has some damage to his inner ear, which is affecting his hearing and balance. He will also have some fatigue and cognitive issues. He should be back to full health in a few months.
Matt, if there's anything we can do, we're here for you.
I don't know what to do yet. We are still trying to figure that out. I had some time to research how to communicate with the deaf, and we are working with a teacher robot.
Earth is mourning the loss of Olivia. She was a great woman. I cannot imagine what you were going through.
Yes, we will all miss her.
Thank you both. I know how important this mission is to everyone.
Robot, is Matt fit for duty?
That will depend on how much he exerts his body. His body is fighting his balance and hearing issues. This will dramatically affect his physical and mental abilities. If he suggests we suggest half days for now and can be reevaluated again in a week. That's good news. I have some work that could use your input. I can't wrap my head around where it is now.
I'm ready to do what I can.
We only have a few more things to cover. Earth is waiting on our report.
Shannon picks up a tablet and taps it a couple times. The display on the wall changes to bullet points. In the med bay, Lisa picks up a tablet and throws it across the room. It hits the window. She starts screaming. Matt and Curt and Shannon look over. Shannon looks at Matt.
Matt, we don't need you for the moment. Go, be with your family.
Matt grabs a tablet and heads out of the room. Interior Arc Clark quarters day. Luxurious open concept apartment with the odd bulkhead showing. Matt, Lisa, and Brandon at the dining table. Brandon working on a tablet. Matt is trying to mouth words to Lisa while a teacher robot instructs. It is not going well and Lisa is agitated. Matt mouths the words, big red dog. Lisa is looking at him with confusion. He mouths again with more emphasis, big red dog.
You have to say the words normally, or your face will distort and make it harder for Lisa's to lip read.
Matt pauses, then calmly mouths the words again. Still does not understand. She gets frustrated and puts her hands in front of her eyes. Matt tries to pull them down. Lisa gets violent and swipes a tablet across the table, screaming, then crying. Matt pulls her onto his lap. He holds her and strokes her hair. Brandon watches in concern. Matt motions Brandon over for a family hug. Matt kisses Brandon and Lisa on their heads and looks up.
We really miss you, Olivia.
Interior Arc hydroponics day. Typical hydroponic bay. Robot not moving on floor. Words show 8 years later. Lisa, 16, inspects a robot that has fallen and powered down. Matt looks at the robot, then taps his watch. A holographic image of Curtis appears.
Curt, I'm having trouble with another hydroponics robot. They just can't handle the climate.
On it. I'll have a robot picked up and replaced.
Lisa pushes a button on the robot. A small cartridge pops out. She reaches into the pocket of her coveralls, pulls out a replacement. She slides it in the robot. The robot comes back to life, then goes back to work. Matt looks in shock at Lisa. He slowly raises his arm and speaks into it.
Cancel that, Curt. Looks like Lisa fixed it.
Huh. I'm not surprised. Lisa has a real knack with robots. She would be a great mechanic.
Lisa looks over the damaged part. Matt is still looking at Lisa in amazement. He raises his watch again.
Would you be willing to teach her?
I think that's a great idea.
Interior Arc South Bridge deck day. Lisa works on a robot. Lisa's robot has speech to text on its chest. A monitor shows an old TV sitcom. Curt enters the room.
You're really good with machines.
Lisa looks at the closed captioning on her robot, then turns off the robot's display and pauses the TV show, then places a small disc on her temple. Pause. She turns to Curt and smiles. Lisa picks up a tablet and taps it a few times. Special note, whenever Lisa is spoken to, there is a short pause before she responds. Lisa will now wear the neural link in most scenes.
It beats schoolwork. Say something. Remember, your schoolwork is important. I don't want Matt I don't think Matt would like it if your grade started to slip.
Robots display still off. Lisa taps her tablet.
I get straight A's, except PE.
Curt looks at the robot, then at Lisa.
How are you understanding me?
Lisa points to the device on her temple.
I created a neural link that can show me closed captions. It will translate language into text. I will see it as a hologram.
Curtis looks in awe for a moment.
Will blow me down.
Lisa smiles at him, then picks up a screwdriver and gets back to work on a robot. Interior Art Clark quarters day. Brandon and Lisa at the kitchen table working. They both have a tablet. The teacher robot has a math problem on his chest. Matt getting ready to go to work. Matt addresses Brandon.
Oh, that is me.
Matt,
I want to see some progress on your video report when I get back.
Lisa looks at Brandon with a smirk. Matt kisses Lisa on the head and leaves the room. As soon as Matt leaves, Brandon looks at his watch and counts down on one hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brandon rotates his chair toward the living room.
Computer, play something really loud.
An old music video starts to play. It is a music video with people signing the words as they sing. Brandon gets out of his chair and starts playing an air guitar. Water and glasses start to ripple to the beat. Lisa feels the table and starts nodding her head to the beat. Lisa looks over at her brother's antics, then at the music video. She is mesmerized watching the actors signing the music. Brandon turns to see what she is looking at. At the end of the song, the credits show a special thanks to our ASL student actors, and then it lists their names. Lisa points to the screen with a puzzled look on her face. Brandon shrugs his shoulders.
Computer, pause. Go back to the start with the credits.
Lisa picks up a tablet and types, "What is an ASL student actor?" Then shows it to Brandon.
Computer, what is an ASL actor?
The teaching robot shows multiple links on its chest. One of the links is ASL, American Sign Language, interpreted performances. Lisa types on her tablet, ASL, robot displays and voices.
American Sign Language, ASL, is the language that originated in the 16th till the 22nd century and serves as a prominent sign language of deaf communities in the US and most of Anglophone Canada.
Brandon and Lisa look at each other and smile. Lisa taps her tablet.
I have seen one of these signs before. I got it after I lost my hearing. Just one emoji from a girl named Sarah from Pluto.
She hands the tablet to Brandon. The tablet shows one sign, love.
I wonder what that means.
Interior Arc South Bridge deck day. Lisa alone on South Bridge, robot parts everywhere. Lisa picks up a tablet and taps it a few times, then looks at a robot. The robot comes to life and displays downloading ASL archive. Pause. Download complete. Lisa taps the tablet again, and the letter A shows on the robot's chest. The robot attempts to make the corresponding sign in ASL. They start going through each letter. The robot's hands do not have the dexterity to form the letters properly. They still practice for a while. Interior Arc South Bridge deck day. A robot hand on the table. The new hand is more detailed than the previous robot hand. Lisa is adjusting it with a screwdriver, then sets it on a table with its fingers pointing up. It is more identical to a human hand. Lisa taps her tablet and places it beside the hand. It shows the letter A. The robot hand also displays the letter A in ASL. They practice the ABCs and the hand works flawlessly. A large smile comes across Lisa's face as they sign the letters. Lisa installs the new hand on the robot. The robot comes to life. The fingers and hand rotate, stretch, and wiggle in different positions. Special note from this time on, all robots capable of signing ASL sign voice and display text on chest. Oh, sorry.
Lisa.
Hi, robot.
The camera moves back as they are trying different signs like alphabet and numbers, etc. Camera blurs out, then back in. Nice to meet you. My name is Bob.
Nice to meet you. My name is Lisa.
Interior Art Clark quarters day. Lisa and
When
Brandon.
guys, real quick, sorry, when the letters are spelled out like that with periods, you need to
Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay. Lisa and Brandon are at the kitchen table. They both have a bowl of food in front of them and are eating. Bob the robot is facing Lisa. Matt walks in the door.
I see you started supper without me. I'm starving.
You start supper, him hungry.
You were unmuted, now you're muted. Clint.
No, Brandon.
Clint.
Yeah, Dad, have you seen Lisa today?
Dad, see Lisa do today.
What's up?
What's up? Brandon and Lisa laugh at the robot.
Lisa built a robot that can sign.
Lisa build robot can sign.
Sign? What do you mean, sign?
What means sign?
You can see it to believe it.
The robot continues to sign, voice, and show closed captioning to Lisa while they talk.
I love you, Dad.
Lisa loved Dad. I don't know if that's Bob. Matt looks at the signing robot, then at Lisa in astonishment. The dish Matt is holding slips out of his hand and bounces on the floor. Lisa has a huge smile on her face. Absolutely beaming, Matt walks over and hugs Lisa. Then they look at the robot again.
I love you too.
Love, same. They try different words and phrases. Interior Art Clark quarters night. Matt is alone with the robot at the table.
Robot, can you teach me ASL?
Yes, I can.
Where do we start?
Start with the alphabet. They practice signing the alphabet. Interior Art boardroom day. Brent, 37, heavy built man, and Sydney, 32, sitting at the table with Shannon.
It is good to have you both with us today. We will get started in a bit. We are just waiting for Curt and Matt. I hope everyone is okay. I hope your cryo sleep was good.
I find it hard to believe that cryo doesn't age the body. I actually feel better than when I got in.
Sure does wonders for the complexion.
Matt and Curt walk into the room, followed by Lisa's new robot. They all exchange hugs and handshakes, then sit down.
Before we start the official meeting, I have to show you something.
Sure.
Last night, when I got home, I found out that Lisa built herself a signing robot.
Signing robot? What's that?
What do you think it is, Curtis?
Lisa's been working on a special project for months. She won't tell me what it is, but it seems to be very important to her.
You will have to see it to believe it. She has taken her teaching robot and modified the hands and face so it can sign ASL.
ASL?
ASL is American Sign Language. I wrote a college paper on that. The title was Lost Languages. It used to be a form of communication with deaf people using hand, face, and movement to communicate.
Lisa never ceases to amaze me. I mean, the neural link between and that now sign language robot, she's gotten to be the most resourceful person I've ever met.
I played with her robot, Bob, last night after she went to bed. I even started to learn the alphabet. A, B, C, F, D. What do you think about that, Brent?
That's incredible.
I hate to interrupt. I want to hear all about it, but Earth is waiting for our report. We should do the meeting and get back to this again right after.
They turn to the boardroom display and start discussing items listed. Interior Pluto News Desk Day. Sarah, 18-ish now, at the table with a tablet. Jennifer is eating and watching the news. The large monitors flip to the daily ARC report, and sound comes through the PA system. On the display is Lisa's new ASL robot, Bob. Jennifer waves at her daughter and points to the screen. Sarah looks at the screen.
Today's special report focused on Lisa Clark. As you all know, Lisa has been deaf since the comet stroke on the Ark. We have all watched as she struggled to communicate with the rest of the team. Lisa may have found a possible solution, a sign language robot. We will tell you all about it after this commercial break.
Jennifer and Sarah start to sign wildly.
ASL robot, cool.
You need one.
Sarah's eyes widen and she shakes her head up and down. Interior ARC boardroom day. Lisa, Curt, Matt, and Bob.
Seems like you're a big hit on Earth, Lisa. We keep getting asked about you and your new robot.
Lisa tries to sign to the robot, then picks up a tablet, and the robot starts to sign, voice, and display what Lisa types. I don't know ASL yet, and the robot is still in design, but I'm having fun learning.
Dawn, could you go a little slower if you want me to sign that?
Oh,
sorry, just a little slower. If you want,
I didn't
it's up to you.
I didn't even know you were signing it. Sorry.
It's fine. If you go a little slower, I can.
I don't know ASL yet, and the robot is still in design, but I am having fun learning.
I wonder if you can demonstrate that we can send it to Earth.
Lisa, Brendan and I have started to learn, but it's not easy.
I'm also interested in your design and wonder if we can start duplicating it on other robots.
Lisa taps her tablet. The robots can make them. I just let them know what I want, and they build it.
I know robot design, and there's more to it than this. What you have created is nothing short of amazing.
Why don't we try recording one of our family school sessions?
I see the photo opportunities here. All of us can now have ASL classes with the robot. Of course, we will try one that is not recorded first.
Both Matt and Lisa nod their heads. Interior Pluto Food Court Day. All monitors sync and show a government seal on the screen. Lights in the room flash a few times. Words scroll across. Important messages from the Prime Minister. Please stand by. The view changes to a podium. Cut to Interior Earth Government Press Gallery Day. Minister's aide steps up to the podium.
The Prime Minister has a statement. Please hold all questions until after she is finished.
There's a pause. The man looks over his shoulder, then dismounts the podium. He steps down and the Prime Minister steps up.
My historians have informed me that sign language is a dead language and has not been practiced for many centuries. I have heard rumors that some among you may still use ASL or other sign languages for communication. In light of Lisa's deafness and the new sign language robot she has created, and of course, the importance of our ARC to succeed in the new world, I am putting a team together of our brightest historians in linguistics. I will also add people that can already sign ASL or other sign languages if any can be found. This team will receive our highest prestigious status in our community, with all the benefits that go along with it. Thank you.
Some drones fly in for some snapshots and questions start from the gallery. Drones swing around and take pictures of the gallery. Interior Pluto Food Court Day. Sarah and Jennifer look at each other.
Inform them.
No, not us.
Yes, we sign. I want to sign with Lisa.
We can't.
Why?
You don't understand that we can't.
Why? Why not tell them? I don't understand. We sign good. You sign good.
We can't tell them because they will take you away from us. You're not who we said you are.
You come with me. We show them sign.
We can't. You don't understand. I didn't let them fix you after your accident. They will take you away from me if they find out who you are.
Accident? What accident?
When you were little, you had an accident. Brain damage. That's why you're deaf. But other than that, you're fine. We were cut off from Earth because of a war. Once the war was over, we took you back so that you could see the doctors. And they said they could fix you. But you would lose all of your memories. The risk was too high. It was too dangerous. So we watched you overcome your deafness. You became who you are now. And we love you for who you are, for who you became. But the government said we had to fix you. So we took you from the hospital. I'm trying to read where I am, sorry. The only reason they didn't make you have the surgery is because we fled. We returned to Pluto. Then my cousin and my sister passed away in an accident. So we told the government that you had died, not your sister. The government only knows you as Brenda now. Papers were falsified. We lied, just so they wouldn't come take you away from us. The government thinks you're dead. Our family learned sign because of you. You're why we sign.
Sarah slowly turns and looks out the window at open space. The camera shot switches to a shot of Sarah from outside the window. She holds up one hand. Love. Fade to black.
Sick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
nice
Petra,
work,
for
Petra.
signing.
Whew. I'm kind of amazed I remembered that much. It's like
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
learned when I was growing up. My mom taught me, but it's like how much you remember depends. Seems to depend. So hopefully more of that was right than wrong.
Cool.
That monologue at the end was awesome, man.
You're muted, Jacob. You were muted.
Huh?
You're muted.
Oh, Jacob was talking and he was muted.
Jacob?
Jacob, you're muted.
I know that I shared the screen, so my muted button thing moved, and then I clicked it and it moved again. But yeah, well, that was impressive. Thank you, Petra. Way more than anything any of us know. So, yeah. So good job, everyone. I know it's a cold read for most of us, and good job. Lots of characters, lots going on. Good job, Marvin, like Don said, for finishing the screenplay and getting out there. And we can tell a lot of research went into a lot of things that are in there. Other things you guys liked about it or thoughts?
It was very intriguing playing
Yeah.
something entirely out of my wheelhouse. I loved it.
Awesome. And now before we get into more, we'll talk about this more, but I know it's later for some people and sometimes these things run late. So first we'll go around and see what everybody is doing and where people can find them. And so if somebody has to leave, they can leave, and then the rest of us will hang out and talk about the script and other things more. So Clint, go ahead and go first if you'd like.
All right. My name is Clint Monroe. Anyways, you can find me at Gems of Zen Productions on Instagram, or you can find me at Clint Monroe 2017 at gmail.com. You can email me there, or you can type that into Facebook, and then you can find me there. And that's pretty much what's going on with me. I did my little spiel in the beginning. It was a good read, and I look forward to getting into the meat and potatoes of it. So I'll pass it off.
All right. Next, we got Don.
Don Lampasone. You can always find me myname.com. And still doing the same stuff, just, doing video and film stuff during the day and watching my kids at night, I guess. I don't know. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm always interested in working on shorts and feature films. It's definitely the passion that I'd like to be doing. So always striving to do that. So it's really fun to do this just because, you learn a lot from reading other people's screenplays, especially when they've been produced. And reading today's was very interesting to see, it's an interesting story, so I'm very interested in talking about it later. I'll let the next person go and we can talk about thoughts about that after.
Sounds good. The next person is Heather Lee Cameron.
Hi, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a self-producer. You can find me on my main site is YouTube. My channel is The Storm and Latter-day Saint, or you can contact me through my email, heather.leigh.cameron@gmail.com. All the rest of my links are on my YouTube channel. It was awesome to do this script.
Awesome. And Petra.
Hi. Petra Stedman. When I was little, my mom taught me how to sign, so I remember a little bit more, understood a little bit, remembered a little bit. Yeah, this was just a really great, it was a cool script and interesting to read and really fun to act. And I don't really have a huge social media presence except for me at my name at Twitter, and that's kind of it. But working on getting some more stuff out there because these are definitely fun, and getting to do more projects would be a lot of fun too. So
awesome. And Vicki.
Hi, I'm Vicki Dykes. You can find me on Instagram as YogaGramma7. I'm on Facebook under my name, Vicki Dykes. I'm an actress and I would love to do voiceover. And I do have hearing loss. I never did learn how to sign. I do read lips. I've had my hearing loss for over 30 years now, and I just learned how to live with it.
Wow. Yeah. That was, impressive.
Yeah.
Next we have.
I'm super curious to hear what your thoughts are about this later.
Oh, yeah. So if you're able to stick around for the discussion in a little while, we'll have it go first. And next, the names switched around on me. So Toni, we'll have you go next.
Hello, I am about not having video. Toni Flora, you can find me on Facebook at Toni Flora. I am super excited. We started filming a series a couple of weeks ago. We just got a Facebook page up last night. So we'll be sharing that in the next couple of days. I think the director is adding some more stuff before we can share a lot. So look for me on Facebook and see and you'll find that series that will be coming out in a couple of months, few months.
Can you
maybe?
mention the name of it? Can you mention the name of the Facebook page or not yet? We'll wait till next week.
We'll wait till next week.
Okay. They'll come back
Thanks.
to that. Sorry to interrupt if you had more. Did everybody get a chance? Let's say who they are and stuff. All right. Well, if anybody has to.
I think Angelina didn't get a chance.
Oh,
Miss Peterson, please. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm Angelina or Angel Peterson, and you can find me on Facebook on my business page, which is Your Adored Life. And I think the link will be in here. And I just want to give a little shout out to my buddy, Curtis LaBelle. It's his old branding, Kula, but Curtis LaBelle, he's a musician in Canada, and he's going on his cross Canada tour called, what is it? High on Pride Tour. So HOPT. And look him up. He's cool. That's my thing. Thank you.
All right. I'm Jacob Patrick. It's jacobpatrick.com, but mainly just come here for Table Read Tuesdays. And so that's the wrap on the official table read. So if anybody has to go, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, like this. Woo! All right. And now we'll continue with the discussion for stuff. So, Vicki, like Clint said, not to put you on the spot, but do you have any thoughts on the script or how hearing loss from your perspective, you viewed how things were presented?
I thought it was really interesting. It's really easy to think of a handicap as something that you should keep this quiet. Let's not share this. I didn't talk about it for decades when I was performing on stage. I simply didn't bring it up because it didn't interfere. But if acoustics are bad, or if things change, then it becomes really obvious. And it's astounding to me to have to hide something that's a part of you, and just because you're different than someone else, to see society and say, okay, we have to hide you because they're going to take you away if they find out that we didn't get this operation. Like, it's mind-blowing, and absolutely it can happen. Absolutely. So yeah, I found the script to be very intriguing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's an interesting point that you bring up, where it is kind of like, I mean, it's an outlandish futuristic story, right? But the idea is that feeling that you get of like having to hide and like, and so he's using the government, I guess, to kind of get to that idea of that there's this stigmatism, I guess, in society, and then this person has to feel like they need to retreat and not talk about it. It was very interesting.
And I'm glad he's trying to write a script, or he did write a script that brings more attention or representation to underrepresented people. So I and my admiration for that.
Yeah.
All that. Anybody else have any other thoughts on that stuff? Now, I will say I did ask him while we're doing this tonight. I asked him, do you want feedback? And do you only want nice constructive feedback, or do you also want harsh, truthful feedback? And he was like, bring it all. Give me all feedback is good feedback. So he's given us permission to tell him what I really thought, our nitpicks. And again, none of us are like super professional writers. None of us are, this or that. So these are just objective opinions, and hopefully you can see the note behind the note, or maybe we all have a consensus on something, and that can help him just make it stronger. Like, that's one of the benefits of table reads. Like, I'm sure he was watching us and he probably already saw, oh, I got to change this, fix that. So he might already have some of the comments we're going to say. But if we can give feedback, that's what writers love. Like, that's why they send their script out. Like, please tell me how I can make it better, because they want it best. So, all right. Oh,
I can start if you want with
Sure.
a little bit of that constructively. I thought the story overall is actually good. I think it works. I think that one of the things that some writers do is a little bit too much dialogue on occasion, and then there's no description in what's going on. And I actually got lost a couple times with the dialogue because I wasn't like, well, what are they doing? I couldn't see what was going on in my head, like the usual way. Like when you're reading a script, you want to see what's going on. You think of it as a visual medium. And so you want to always be thinking, what do we see? And so, yeah, dialogue's good, but you want to make sure that it's not too much so that it sort of drowns out and gets repetitive. I think that's probably, but overall, I think the story was great. I mean, and that would be my main criticism of this screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Clint, please.
To piggyback off of what Don was saying, I think a lot of it with some of the very long dialogue sequences of different characters, it almost makes it monologue-y for the characters early on, right? And the monologue, like the thing that brings it home, is right at the very end when they talk about Jennifer, and that is so powerful. So like having short, snippy dialogue early, right, leading to that one massive, powerful monologue, I think would be would like just hit this one out of the ballpark for sure.
And I didn't say I want to give them credit for asking for feedback and welcoming feedback and allowing us to say that like that is a good quality for someone to be able to take feedback.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps to better what we're all working towards is bettering ourselves. So,
Agreed.
And it's a professional quality. You work with other studios and directors, they'll want things changed for multiple reasons. Could be budget, could be, just story.
One other thing that I noticed was I was a little confused about the dates. I didn't understand what present day was, and maybe I forgot. Maybe that was unclear. Just the dating in general, I was like, where are we?
And like some of the time jumps and stuff like that.
I was a little confused on that. So, and maybe it doesn't need to be so far in the future. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's, but.
I mean, there's something to be said for like hard science fiction, something like The Martian versus like a light science fiction, or something that's more in tune of like, what could we have now? What could we have in the very near future? What is absolutely borderline fantasy as far as like, it just has scientific implementation instead of say magic. But I don't know. I think it's practical, but he's also, I mean, we're talking basically like both interplanetary terraforming and stuff like that, as well as interstellar travel, basically going on between a lot of regions in at least our solar system, if not, because that's the other thing. I wasn't sure where some of the points were as far as like, I mean, obviously you're talking about Earth and Pluto and stuff within our solar system, but then you have stuff that would be like extragalactic and things like that. And I don't know. I think the time frame works. He could probably shorten it a little bit, make it maybe in a couple of centuries as opposed to like, 1,000+ years. But I mean, I don't think the timeline is necessarily it. If you're setting it in 3700, you're setting it in 3700. And there was a reason that you set it in 3700. My favorite thing is just like, if you're doing anything to break up, like, okay, it was between the 16th and the 22nd century that this happened, and then this was like 10 years ago, this was 100 years ago, this was 50. Having the time jumps back and forth, or not explaining exactly where we are in the timelines, like Dawn said, it did get a little confusing. The specified time breaks, like 8 years later or 5 years after or whatever, and maybe don't do too many of those. But if you're clarifying where we are in the timeline, I think it would help. But for the most part, it's like you kind of follow along, but there are a few points I think it gets a little muddled as to like, where are we? If this is the past, it needs to be a little bit clearer. If it's a time jump forward, specify with something other than the actors being a little bit older or the characters being a little bit older or presented differently. So just something to make it just a little bit clarified, I guess, here and there. It's like where we are and when we are.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was the significance of the water planet and the mutiny in connection with the rest of the story?
Yeah, extraneous stuff.
And that's as nice as I'm trying to be as nice, so I'm asking it in the form of a question.
I'm sure the writer will love to hear where people were confused or don't understand why things
I'm
are.
very confused because I get that the main plot was talking about disability, but what was the connection of the mutiny on the ship and the water planet in connection with the rest of the story?
I have an idea about that, but I want you guys to discuss some of this about like where you found conclusions, where you have questions first. Before I say that.
I also liked that he wrapped it all back up, because then it sort of clarified things. I was like, oh, okay. When Jennifer was doing her last monologue, I liked that, because I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I get a lot of that I wasn't getting while we were, reading through it. I was, oh, okay. So I thought that was good, actually. And usually I would say it might be repetitive, but in this moment, I was like, okay, it cleared some things up. So I was okay with that,
I'm not saying it was a bad script, but it was like The water planet and the mutiny felt like a separate plot that didn't really have a connection with the rest of the story. It felt like it belonged a little bit in the Star Wars prequels a little bit.
Okay.
Like, you know, in the prequels where Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon go and seek refuge in the underwater city on Naboo kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
What were
maybe
you
having
thinking?
clarified a little bit more as to how it connects with the larger plot, or just specify.
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't.
details in
It feels
timeline?
like it belongs in another movie, or it could be a prequel or something. It doesn't seem like it connects with the rest of the story.
I think you caught on to something I'll mention in a moment, Heather. What were we going to say, Clint?
Oh, I was gonna see what your thoughts were on
Okay.
that, because yeah.
So from the PDFs and stuff that he sent, I know he also has a series version of this. So I don't know this for sure, but my guess is that he tried to cram a lot of the series stuff into the feature format. And so he's doing a lot of different things from that series and having it in the feature. So that's why to all of us, it feels like it's not one contained film, and it feels like it's jumping to different areas, and there's different people, and we don't build a connection with those people in areas.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
series.
trying to make him feel bad about his writing. It's wonderful writing, but it needs a little bit of help here and there, because it just didn't feel completed like it could be a feature, but it's wonderful work.
Yeah, so I kind of had like a little bit of a thought on that, actually. I know that there's this idea of the war, and I think like pulling that sequence in was like one scene from the series and the war and the revolution that's going on and happening. But like, what if in the feature format, right, that instead of taking a huge scene, like maybe cut down on some of the newscasters and do like a series of shots, right? Like, so the series of shots is setting up that there's this war going on. And then instead of having that big long scene, maybe shorten that there's a coup, but throughout the time you're using visuals instead of like having the newscaster be on there telling what's going on, show what's going on through actions. And then that's going to set up that there's this war going on. As you're reading it, you're like, oh my God, yeah, there's this war going on. Then there's a mutiny that's going on right there. And then I think they would tie it back. That's just my suggestion. I mean,
You could even mix that. You could even mix that. So you could use the newscasters and the sort of what you're talking about, visuals, and sort of combine that idea so that you have the visuals and the newscasters saying what's
Have
going
like a
on. so it's
voiceover
clear.
over like maybe a cutaway or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could cut away
broken
back
up.
and
Well,
forth.
first of all, break it up a little bit more too,
Yeah.
but have like,
Or like,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so like, instead of having, long form hold on a newscaster going back and forth talking about something, have, maybe the start of the news program and it cuts away to showing what's going on. If you want to have voiceover for clarification, like have the basically like listening to the news report while seeing what they're talking about.
Like a real news report.
Yeah, but like break it
Yeah.
up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that would be.
Or like,
Video.
they had people signing in that underwater planet. They could have a survivor of that underwater thing on Pluto in that secret deaf community, and they could tell the mother about that community instead of having that weird video.
Yeah.
And I feel like, he'll definitely have to separate the series from the movie. And as a movie, like, I would like to see the main characters going through those problems and those issues and that stuff, rather than just seeing a news thing, see how it's affecting the characters we learn or getting to know.
Yeah.
And if there is going
care more
to
about
be,
them.
if there is going to be a coup, like the military people that care about that community, it should be maybe some of those characters we know within that happening it, rather than just
Yeah.
someone we haven't heard about popping up.
Somebody extraneous. It's almost like it's almost like an outlier. It's like it's just kind of stuck in there,
And like,
and it kind of throws it off a little bit.
And like they could have the mom and a survivor from this underwater thing. They could talk about it and say, "Hey, I had to bring this signing to this community, and this is why we have to be in secret because we had this." But the government took us away and forced us to flee from this underwater thing, and this is why we're here on Pluto now, hiding.
Or again, we show that so that they don't have to say
Yes.
that. We show them escaping that, running that, And then, because lots of times in movies, they'll like
Yeah.
start to tell the conversation and then we cut away because we already know it all. We already saw it all.
And
We don't
like
need it
have a
repeated for
cameo
us.
of the survivor just hiding in the cafeteria or whatever, just watching Sarah and
Yeah.
her mom like, oh, who's
Yeah,
that?
Or, and again,
Um,
I got really excited about that water planet as well and the dome underneath. Like that is very interesting to me. But with how this movie started and with how this movie ended, I don't think it belongs
mhm.
in the movie that was being told. I think it's going to be great in the series as a separate stuff over the different area that they were going to or the planet
Like
they were
it
from.
needs like
But
somebody like a
personal
cameo
thought.
watcher, but not the whole planet kind of thing.
Mhm.
There should be a
Well-
scene though where someone signs something that is telling somebody something and nobody else knows what they're
That's cool.
saying.
That would be
You know,
That is great.
nobody else knows what they're saying, and
Yeah.
they get, and that saves the day or something.
And a little
like,
undertitle
you know?
so that we know, it's not like a little
No, like
subtitle.
for the audience, but not for anyone else. Cause it's
Yeah,
like,
when-
it's
when
like when you hide a revelation in like a foreign language or
Exactly.
something.
When the
like,
main characters are doing that coup, like what's her name, Lisa, she builds a robot that helps her, but they'll be doing silent things that nobody sees, but they're able to
Exactly.
communicate within
Right.
silence and be able to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good idea.
One
So, you
other
said-
thing that I'd like to point out, or at least like to throw out there. Thanks again. Number one, thank you for letting us read that script. I just wanted to say that. I know we're giving y'all a bunch of feedback right now, but that was awesome because a lot of the scripts that we read, right, like they've been through being vetted by directors and DPs and producers, and so they've had so many notes thrown at them that those things are bomb proof,
Yeah.
you know? And so when we read it, they just flow because they've been read 100,000 times, right? And like seeing this raw, like really helped because then you can see like, all right, you know, like maybe some of the dialogue doesn't quite really flow that way. You know, sometimes the dialogue sequencers are a little bit long or how, like why they intercut it with actions to break up these things. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting us see that in raw form, because I have pages and pages and pages of notes, and it was really awesome to juxtapose the two. So with that, I wanted to talk one other thing was about the memory loss. And it felt like to me when we were going through that, there's a lot of repetition about the memory loss as to going through this surgery. But it wasn't until like really, really late that we kind of understand why there was memory loss. And I feel like if you flip that and talk about it earlier as to like how it works in the brain and why that's a procedure, right? And then go a little bit more into the risks of the procedure, then that whole conflict of like, are we really going to risk our daughter for this procedure would hit a lot heavier. Because when I was reading it as going through it, it's like, okay, so there's memory loss. Like, why is there memory loss? What's that all about? And if you weight it like that, then first, and you understand the ramifications as to why that's going to happen, I think it would like carry that narrative through a lot further, because that is a huge decision they're going to have to make, which is like, do we make her better and sacrifice her life, you know, of who she is? Because that's a huge decision, man. And is also awesome, by the way. 2 thumbs up. Says,
And it doesn't seem like there's like all of a sudden when they leave Earth, there's like no aftermath of this. Like they kidnapped a kid from an Earth hospital. There's no aftermath or anything on the news about it. I mean, come on.
Every so often when we cut back to like
Child.
somebody, every so often when we cut back to somebody talking about like this ship or the information with like, you know, Sherri and the officer talking to the prime minister, I'm like, are they talking about the ship that was taken? Are they talking about the child that was stolen? Are they talking about somebody fleeing from like basically a government mandate that you have to fix your child and let us operate on them? It's like I kept waiting for that.
Like
I was
did they
waiting for
mention at
some-
the end? Did they
Like,
mention
only
at
that
the
they
end?
don't
Was there an
do.
accident? We should see maybe a cut scene of the accident. Like she mentioned, oh,
Right.
your
Well,
sister
I think
died.
I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing about the accident had to do with like when the thing struck the arc, and that's what they were talking about because they
No,
were
like at the end, like
You know-
they said there was an accident. Oh, your sister died. Like did the ship pursuing them hit the ship that was fleeing or what?
I think that's what should be in the main story is rather than just a footnote at the end that's saying, oh yeah, you replaced your sister dying. Show the sister dying, show them replacing the having the daughter like play off as the sister and all
Right,
those little
yeah.
elements, like show all of that. That's
Like,
the
show the Earth,
that's that story.
Yeah.
show the Earth attacker, like causing the accident, sister dying, all that.
Or like, I think they were on separate. They got taken onto like different ships. So you had Brenda with Komal, and you had Sarah with Jennifer. But then like Jennifer and Sarah get pulled out alive from underneath like all the dead bodies. They found like the heat signature. I guess it can't have been the ship that Komal was on, because she shows up later, but I didn't see Brenda. They talk about her sister when they're in the other place, because she makes the whole thing about like, we'll go to the thing and your sister will be here. But at some point after that, I guess, is when Brenda was killed in some type of accident, which you're right, they don't go into detail about. But they did mention like a ship getting struck, like one of the arcs was struck, or the arc.
Oh, sorry. I think that's the main problem. I will say the main problem that I had with the script, and I'll just talk about for myself, is that it was so much exposition. It was so much just listening to people tell stories about what's going on and nothing about the action. It didn't show what was going on. It only told people talking about what was going on. So because of that, it's very easy, as you know, with the telephone game that you get. It's hard to know what's going on. So if all you're doing is hearing, you're not seeing it, it's very easy to get misunderstand what's actually going on with this show.
I wonder if he did that because he thought it would be cheaper to make.
I thought about that during it too.
I was like, that might be the reason. Maybe.
Yeah.
I can see this as an animation too, though.
Yeah, no, I can see that too.
And so you could write a lot of that descriptive stuff in there if you're going to animate it.
Like, when did the switch take place? I was confused when I read it at the end. When did the switch take place? You need to establish that clearly.
Yeah, because we don't. I didn't know that Brenda had died until the end, and then she I guess she replaced her. But it's like, I think this is kind of a problem that you have with. There have been movies that were originally written as series, and when the series turned out to not be viable or something, what they did was they took like a few scripts from like episodes, stitched them together, and that's what made a movie. And it doesn't exactly fit together. It seems more like broken up pieces than a cohesive narrative. And I don't know if this is kind of like that. Like if you have, say, a 7-episode arc and you only took like 3 of the scripts and put them together, but you're still referencing stuff that happens in the other 4 and we have no idea about it. I think that might be why, because on the one hand, we're getting a lot of exposition, weirdly enough, not that much information, or maybe too much information, but it's not clarified. So maybe focus first of all, focus the narrative a little bit more, definitely, but don't have so much narration and exposition. Like if we need to know something, have us talk about it a little bit, but show us. Instead of the news anchor talking, cut to what they're talking about, like an actual broadcast. Instead of just telling us everything at the end, intercut the scenes or a flashback, what's going on at a different point, even if the characters don't know about it, something, so that the audience is more aware of this is what's going on now, this is what's going on here, this is what's going on here. So it's not like, oh, okay, that's what happened to these characters, that's where this went and whatever, because then you're just getting hit with it at the end, and it's so much to do.
I think Angelina had something she wanted to say, and then Dawn, and then Heather. So yeah, Angelina.
A few things, but I'll just. Does anyone know where Olivia came in? Like, was she mentioned before she died at all?
I don't remember.
She all of a sudden was mentioned, and I thought, who is she? So that might
everybody on Earth knew about her and was carrying in.
So that might be important to clarify in it as well.
And Dawn, what was
I was thinking that when you said what you were saying, Petra, that, like I had said in the beginning, it's, sometimes it's okay to like leave some mystery, leave mystery, especially in the beginning and even in the middle, and then you're revealing things. That exposition comes later rather than just sort of telling. And I think that the conversations didn't really lead to that as well. And so it made it long dialogue, but we're not, like you're saying, you're not really getting the information. So it's better to show things, even if you think it's confusing to the viewer, and that's okay, because some of the best movies that I've seen have been ones that sort of, you don't get that reveal until near the end, and then you're like really blown away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's or it's the opposite effect. You think the movie's going good, and then it has a bad ending, and you're like, oh no, this movie sucked all of a sudden. I've had that happen a couple times to me with movies, and I'm like, so it's like those, you don't want that effect, obviously, but I think that would help, just like what we're all saying, just show, don't say it, show it, that old thing.
And then Heather, what did you want to say?
Yeah.
Heather?
There is a law of storytelling when it comes to like TV plots and movie plots. You need to have a clear A plot, a clear B plot, a clear C plot. And I mean, you can show them in a clear order you like or whatever. You can have like a flashback or a flash forward, but then you need to be clear about what direction your plot is moving in, and it needs to be clear. You're going to confuse your audience.
Yeah, I kind of want them all going together.
Yeah.
I do also want to say to Marvin, like, it's brave to put your script out here for the contest.
It is
brave to put it where it can go in public.
Absolutely.
Brave where people can read it, and again, brave to receive this feedback. So again, compliment you on that.
Bravo, let's
Very
clap for you.
brave.
Yeah, dude.
Very
It's
brave.
serious, man.
Yes,
Anybody
very good,
who
Brian.
doesn't
Very
think
brave.
that is brave, write something, send it
Yeah.
in to us, and have us review it in
Yeah.
front of the entire world, and see how you feel, man.
I
Really
was actually,
appreciate you.
Mhm. I was
That was
thinking
awesome.
about how important this process is, because, like you said, Clint, this hasn't been vetted. It hasn't gone through all of those stages to get the best out of it. And this is one of those stages. And I do have a script that's in the first draft, and it would be terrifying, but it would be so beneficial to
Mhm.
hear like the dialogue and the story, and I want to cringe, so I know that needs to change.
Yeah.
Like, if I can hear those things, as painful as it's going to be someday, it would be so beneficial. So I know that this has got to have been so beneficial to Marvin as well, and to us. Like,
Yeah. Anybody, like, again, a lot of people have series they try and make into a feature, or a feature they try and convert into a series. Like my friend and I right now, we wrote a feature. We're on the second draft of it, that we think would be much better as a series. We're going to finish our draft before breaking it up. So this is also helpful for me and her.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is, like, if the conclusion that it was a series and squeezed into a feature is right, that may also be the case of why we saw there's a lot of text blocks of the same person talking, and then they're talking again, and they're talking again, and it says continued with nothing in between.
Mhm.
Like, that's not normal on screenwriting. It should just have you can have a return in there without saying continued, and just the same person keep going.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe it was copied and pasted from other things with things in between it. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah, I would definitely want to piggyback on kind of what a lot of people were saying, but again, that continued thing, and then again going with Petra and the show don't tell, right? Because a lot of those times, instead of just putting continue, just bump over to the action, and then say scratches his face or something like that. And for me, as we're reading it, and it's so dialogue heavy, you kind of like, I mean, you're just trying to get through the dialogue, but if you keep having these reminders as to what's going on, it just like naturally, as you're reading, your imagination keeps getting pulled back into the scene. They're sitting at this table. They're at the doctor's office. The doctor's wearing this coat, and then, he pulls out this clue. And so, like, instead of using those continueds, like, throw in just a little bit of action that grounds us back in the scene as to what's really happening.
Or like
And
imagine what the camera would be seeing, and it's so like, you have even if it's just like continues as this happens, or voiceover off screen, something where what's going on, it's like it breaks up with, like, Curtis gets up and does this, Lisa moves over here, you had action broken up in these long chunks of like what we're seeing, which is great. But when we have these huge chunks of dialogue, or like basically one character just almost giving a soliloquy, it's like, okay, we're talking to the audience about what's going on, but like break it up with, like, instead of having just continue, have it broken up, and then this person does this, have it broken up to we pan to this. Imagine what the camera is seeing, because that's what the audience is going to be seeing. And if there's any changes to that, that field of view, that perspective, write that down. One, it helps you know what you want the audience to be seeing. And two, it helps break up the script a little bit. So it creates visual interest. It breaks it up so it's not these huge dense chunks that we have to get through. It kind of breaks it up a little bit, makes it a little easier to digest.
And one
Don,
thing
you wanna say-
a note on that is that when you go to shoot this, you're gonna love that you did that with that, because you're going to have to do that with the actors. They're going to want things to do. And so if you don't write them in, they're going to do them. And so it's going to make your movie longer too, because they're going to do actions. And so if you don't write the action, it's just going to happen. Well, I will say though, what a good thing that there was a couple times where I was reading like pages and pages of action, and I felt like, oh, it's getting good here. This is good. You know, anytime there was a whole like section there in the 90s or 80s, I can't remember what page number, but there was like a whole bunch of action. And I was like, oh, this is when Matt was coming out of the Cairo. Yeah. I was like, I could see this. I could feel it. And I was like, this is happening.
Matt with the Cairo and the doctor and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. That was all. And he's like crying, and you're like, he's on the ground, you know?
Yeah, that was Burrow, man, for sure.
Yeah.
There was some heavy stuff in there, man.
Yeah, that was good. So, I mean, I think if you do that type of thing throughout the movie, not you don't have to do that much action the whole time, but I think that type of thing, just so we know what's going on, really, you know.
And another thing, for you guys mentioned actors, and you guys can tell me what you think about this. I've been told, like, lots of times when actors get a role or a script to see if they want to do it, one of the first things they go to is the actor description. Like, how am I introduced? And most of these just says 50. Or just says 30.
It has the age,
and that's,
which is
the age is weird.
I mean, to me, the age makes a little sense because there's the time jumps, but other than that, it's so little go up. Like some were good, like where it says he's behind a big desk or he has 5 stars on his shoulder. Like that tells us something about their status and stuff.
Yeah. But something like, is this totally character or just some type of description after that. Like, is this person bitter? Are they stoic? Are they expressive? Are they shy? Are they are they mean or like sarcastic? Do they I actually had a character description once. The one thing that showed up that I still remember to this day is communicates through sarcasm. And I'm like, first of all, it's 3 words. You instantly get a great idea of what the character's like. Every single, even if you don't have like, this is how the line's supposed to be read, like terse or suspicious or sorrowful or whatever. Even if you didn't have, this is how the line is meant to be read, you understood everything out of this person's mouth, except for a few exceptions at the end, is just meant to be, it's flipped, it's sarcastic, it's given with a little bit of spite or spice. And I'm just like, I really liked reading the character. And instantly, it's like, it's one thing and you just get it. So,
and I want to make a big point right here for writers and readers and everyone. So Petra's an actress. She got that little description and she loved that. And that helped her tell how to read and act that entire character. Because I bring this as a big point, because almost writers are always told, don't write in the character description or other action stuff what we can't actually see. Right. And like at that moment when the character is being introduced and you're just looking at her without her talking, you can't see that she's sarcastic and she communicates sarcastic, but that gave you thing for her, the whole script. So there's a lot of readers that are going to read that and they're going to give feedback to the writer and say like, we can't see this. Tell us things about her that we can see. And right there, you just showed like how an actor wants that and how important that is. And so readers that say that, hey, think about the whole picture. Don't just repeat what you've been told.
Nice.
Also on a bit about that was kind of one of the things that I noticed about one of the characters that I read specifically. Because I got the character description in the email that we sent out about Jack, right? And he's kind of like like a blue collar working man type father. And then like I noticed that a lot of this movie is very has a lot of female characters, and there's definitely a lot of female presence in that. And that's great. Except for in the instance when they're at the doctor's office and they're revealing the bad news, because even if it's a soft-spoken husband and father, when his daughter is gonna have to be through this, like he's gonna be vocal, you know what I mean? Like, and I noticed a lot of the times in there, it was like the doctor and the wife speaking. And And, like a man is going to be vocal about, erasing his kid's memory or the fact that they can't save it or that it's going to, you know what I mean? And so there's a lot of times where he was super passive in that. And I think he needed to have like a little bit more there. Does that make sense?
I mean, you could also just, if that's how you felt the character was supposed to be and there wasn't that description in there, like the note that is on my character says brave. And I'm like, actually, most of her line reads, except for like, we can't let this happen or whatever, are almost like she's emotional, she's reactive, but I wouldn't necessarily categorize a lot of her stuff as brave, except for like the fact that she's willing to fight for her family, which is, that's brave anyway. You got the ferocious stuff, but some of the stuff about it, it's like, even if that isn't written into the script, if that's how you're interpreting the character, you just kind of got to run with it. Even if that's not how they're, in some cases, if it's not how they're written or how they're written doesn't work, you kind of almost have to ask, okay, is it okay if I change this? Because this is my interpretation of the character.
Very, very minor things. Like I noted some of them. Well, one, was it Sheila and, I don't know, a little confusing having two names that sound similar right next to each other, back and forth.
Sheila and Sherri. Yeah.
Sherri and Sheila.
And Matthew.
And then there's little tiny like misspellings or edit things. Like there's one part that was dialogue, but it was not the right format just once. You know what I mean? And there's
or like they're blocked off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sailor was spelt wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it needs just from a grammar standpoint, it needs a little bit of tightening. Like there are some words that don't belong in there, or like it's the wrong form, or some of the sentences are a little off or something. So it could definitely use like an edit, just have somebody go through, maybe somebody who focuses on more like a literature, writing, spelling, grammar, that type of deep edit, and just be like, okay, fix this. It reads okay. There were a few sentences where we're sitting there reading it, and it's like we're almost, and I know this is a first time read, but if you're reading it and like we're stumbling over it as we're reading, it might, you always read out anything that you say, or always say anything out loud that you're reading to make sure it's going to sound okay when it's being read, whether it's being read out loud or not. Always read it out loud and see how it sounds, to hear. Because I'm noticing that like, it's like, even just as I'm reading it, it's like, and I can't turn this off anyway. I have editor brain permanently installed. I don't have an off switch, unfortunately, but I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I'm like mentally marking it with like a red pen. I'm like, that needs to be fixed. That's wrong from that word.
So Petra, for him or anybody else, do you offer that as a service? Is there a price?
Yeah, sure. You know what? Send it over.
Yeah, editing is actually one of my fortes, as having been a journalist and someone who knows how to edit quite well.
Yeah.
Well, having been a writer and a journalist, I hate editing. I will send you work, and I like getting it on paper, but I hate the little fine tuning, man. So I will hit both of you guys up.
One other main thought and comment I felt, you guys tell me if you felt the same or not. I felt it was a little too educational. Like, it was like,
well, Jacob, I have to respectfully disagree. How else are we going to get the awareness out unless through entertainment? People
I agree with that.
The existence of people with disabilities, and how else are we supposed to raise awareness about individuals with disability except through entertainment? I have to respectfully disagree.
I think if when they were
before that, Angelina, I would just say to Heather, I wasn't saying that at all. I completely agree with you on that. That we highlight disabilities in entertainment.
Are you
I'll just say
actual, or the language is a little too high? Or?
No, the educational. It felt like a thing that would be at a school to teach people certain things rather than entertainment. I think it needs a little more entertaining and less teaching, because again, some stuff is just repetitious, where it felt like it talked about like that they haven't done sign language since this time 5 times. We heard that same thing 5 times, that they haven't done sign language at this time. And they're asking, what is ASL? What is ASL? Like 4 different times. Now, I know the people in the future don't know that, but the audiences, majority of them are going to know it, and they're not going to need to be told and explained it 4 times.
Jacob, how did people come to understand the different specifications about racism and different things about that. They had to repeat it and repeat it and
Well,
repeat
so
it. And that's
I
how people came to understand it was an important issue. They repeated it over and over and over and over. And this is the same with disabilities. They have to repeat it over and over.
I
and over and over.
agree.
Right,
I don't know
but
about
getting
within
the same
one.
information 5 times in, say, a 2-hour movie or an hour and a half movie is going to get,
Well,
you're going to get sick of hearing it. It's
And
fine to bring it
Again,
up. It's
show it
good
instead of
educationally,
show
but
it instead of
doesn't-
saying it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
I
think
think you
that's
do
kind
it
of
in
the
a
root
different
of
that
the issue.
someone going through the educational, like
Don't do it.
where they turn away and they're like, I can't hear you. Instead
Yeah,
of saying
like-
you have to face someone, no, someone's talking to them, they turn away like, I don't know what you're saying.
During the
communication's
read,
broken.
during the read, Angelina texted me, I think another great idea, kind of like what Don's was saying
Yeah, I was
earlier, like,
about to say.
to have the POV of the deaf actor in the movie, have it from their perspective. I think that would make it so much stronger and impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
you
if
have
it
a
is an
moment where they can't
episodic
hear
one,
anything.
have one of the episodes where it's completely like have most of it silent.
That
Have
would be
it where
awesome.
they can't
Yeah.
hear anything because we put us in the position of a deaf person so that we
Mhm.
actually feel what they're going through, not just see it.
You could
One of
actually
the
use
things I
that
loved
throughout this.
Yeah.
You
would
could,
be-
yeah, you could
Would
definitely.
be cool.
Well, one of the things I really liked about the movie A Quiet Place, aside from the fact that they cast an actual deaf actor, was stunning and phenomenal. But one, they talked to her about, like this character interaction or that, or like, what they would say. I still love absolutely that, like the original line at the very end where her dad says that to her was
Mhm.
only supposed to be, I love you. And he replaced it with, I love you. I have always loved you. And it's like, and she told him to say that. And I'm like, one, it completely kills me every single time. I sob buckets at that movie. But I also like that there's times when, yes, the movie is quiet, but there are times when there's an absence of even diegetic sound. We are in her head. We are hearing or not hearing actually what she hears in that moment. It's like, and you can tell the difference. It's very subtle, but it works. And so something like that, especially with you have a couple of very prominent deaf characters in this story, have it broken up where there are times you can tell you are in their head and not just the scene is quiet, but you're in their head. You're experiencing from their point of view, their perspective, what they're hearing or not hearing, how they're interacting with the world. I think that'd be really great.
That's actually part of, I mentioned Papa's Angels earlier. There's actually a little girl that plays a deaf character, and Scott Bakula and everybody else interacts with her. They lip read and some sign, and it's actually a very beautiful movie. I'll try and find the link for everyone. Y'all should watch it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I loved all of that feedback. I think that's the true thing, right? Like when you're trying to raise awareness for something like this, right? It's like putting somebody in the driver's seat, right? Because if you don't know what it's like to live, as a deaf person in the world, to then have that sensation cut off as you are experiencing the film, like you can't help but feel for that person and empathize with them and connect with them.
Yeah.
I think that Angelina, that was a fantastic idea there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you wear glasses and you take your glasses off and all of a sudden everything is fuzzy, it's so hard. It's so difficult. So if there's a way to somehow, and I think this goes for anytime you're trying to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, if you can put the audience in that person's shoes so they can feel that and experience that what that person's experiencing, it's so much more powerful than if you just talk about it.
Well, at one point, I think it's Lisa actually, they mentioned that like she's going to wake up without like being able to hear anymore due to the injury or the accident or something. So it's like maybe even just like showing a scene from her perspective where, we start off on black, it comes up and there's no sound. You see whatever's going on around her, and then they realize like you're going to have to, but from her perspective, there's no sound. You see something, you can't interact with it, but it's like it and then, cut back to like a shot looking at her where she's kind of almost like, I don't understand. Why can't I hear anything? But it's something simple, but it's like, it's really quick, but it's easy.
Yeah, and I think like you're saying, like cut back and forth the shots. Like I think she'd be freaking out right then. Like
Oh, yeah.
my brother when he was younger, he's skateboarding, does this and that. He fell, bumped his head for like half a day. Like he was blind. Like he can see now, but he was terrified. Like he
yeah.
couldn't see anything. He's like freaking out. He's blind, can't think he's gonna see. Now he could talk and tell us how terrified he is. So this actress would have to show by her actions that she's terrified, that she can't hear anything and she doesn't understand, and they don't have a way to communicate yet, and how important communication is at that moment. Like show that.
That would be very powerful.
And you know what? There was actually, now that I'm remembering, I used to watch Power Rangers, and there was actually an episode of Power Rangers that featured a deaf character, like the original series, and it was actually very cool. And I can find that episode if anybody wants to see it. It might take some looking though.
Sure.
Yeah,
Once you get it, go ahead and
funny. I mean,
put it in the comments.
Power Rangers
Yeah.
is hilarious.
it's kind of funny if you look at the history of Hollywood of how it's like beautiful man, beautiful woman. Those are the characters that make up the universe, and it's like, all right, let's diversify this a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many different shapes and colors and sizes in this world that all have their unique challenges and problems. And I mean, that's what makes humanity interesting, man. It's not taking, I think one of the things that I noticed a lot is like, they'll take segments of a society and then put it onto this beautiful person, you know what I mean? And like try to make it like it's a thing. And you're like, I don't know about that, you know? Yeah. So I can't wait to see more of these stories coming out, dude. Like, this is awesome, and I can't wait for this movie to be developed and then shake the foundations, man. I lived in Washington D.C. next to the Deaf University, and you'd see people signing everywhere. Yeah. I mean, it's a real thing, and there's real people out there that really need to watch this, and it's really important. And so it's awesome, man. And I thank you for bringing this up. I hadn't even honestly, in my own head, I mean, my head was very far away from even this issue today, and for a while. Now I read it, and I'm going to be, carrying.
Got a little bit of a
differently,
Logan's Run thing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Got a little bit of feel like that. If anyone knows that film.
Yeah. And of course, it should focus on the deaf community, but just to bring it out, they're not the only ones who use it. ASL. Like my uncle was in a motorcycle accident, and now quadriplegic. That's how he communicates and stuff.
Oh, so interesting, man.
He can hear, but he has to do that to talk and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Vicki, again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have any, you've been quiet while we've all been blabbing. Any comments on what we said or additional thoughts either way? If not, that's fine. But I want to give you an opportunity. So, again, it's okay. If you think of something, feel free to chime in, just speak up or put your hand up. Although that did seem like a good spot to close it with what you guys said before I interrupted with that. So thank you guys. I'll say that for Marvin, like for all the honest feedback and showing that you did read it, you did see what was happening, and here's what you saw that you liked or could be maybe strengthened here and there. So,
well,
again,
I was honored to be given an opportunity. I'm not hearing impaired myself, but I'm glad to be able to have participated in such an important role. And thank you, Petra, for trying to sign as I was reading. I'm sorry if I read too fast.
It's okay. It's just like, if I'm gonna try it, you gotta speak a little slower.
Yes, I apologize. I wasn't even looking at the videos. I was looking at the script.
It's okay. Yeah.
Before we do go, I just wanted to, because I don't think you guys are on the the YouTube live, I just wanted to share Marvin's comments. So he said, keep up the great work. You're doing awesome. I think I missed a top one there that scrolled off, and Wayne said, this is excellent. Thanks all. Nicole said, good job. Wayne Willett again, thanks again. Well done. Marvin said, Simcom to sign while talking is almost impossible by itself. To do it on the fly, absolutely amazing. So that's to you, Petra. You all did great. I'm in awe listening to you read my words. Wayne said it was an awesome story, and there's an undecipherable message. The last one.
Bot.
Yes, I think so.
Could you
Bob the
imagine if you
robot.
had to like handwrite your posts like on Facebook? Like how many illegible posts would be out there?
Yeah.
Well, there's already illegible ones with autocorrect and everything.
That too.
Again, Marvin, fantastic stuff, man. That was
Yeah,
really,
really
really
good.
interesting. Thank you so much for putting yourself out there, dude. That is a huge thing that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and giving
Thank
us the
you, Mar-
opportunity to read
Yeah. If I was you, I'd be walking a lot taller tonight.
Yeah.
Marvin,
Sure.
Marvin, you're amazing. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to act out your work. Well done. We love you.
it. You're one in a trillion.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, really.
Excellent work.
Hey, but right? Those are outer space jokes, dudes. All
All
right,
right,
guys.
everybody, good night. We'll see you next
Night.
time.
Cheers.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.